95.5 WSB.
All right, thank you, Jonathan. Sunny and warm today, headed for an afternoon high of 82. But don't get too used to the warm weather because cooler weather is on the way, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta Radio's only 5-day forecast. That comes your way at 12:05. 2 people are dead following a fire in Duluth over the weekend. Lieutenant Jeff Golan with Gwinnett Fire tells me this was on Bent Willow Drive in Lilburn.
Firefighters responded to a recreational trailer. It was in the woods behind the main structure down by a lake in Lilburn.
Now, when firefighters arrived, the RV was fully engulfed. When they went through the structure, they did find the remains of 2 adults, a man and a woman. No names have been released. Foul play is not suspected. Now to West Texas.
Good luck and Godspeed, ladies.
6 women making history today by becoming the first multiple astronaut all-female crew to go into space.
I'm Peter King. CBS Morning's Gayle King has been to space, but when it comes to calling her an astronaut, she says, don't.
Still can't accept that word.
She tells a Blue Origin interviewer she was afraid going in, but everything went as the flight instructor said it would. And she was surprised by this.
It's oddly quiet when you get up there. It's really quiet and peaceful. And you look down at the planet and you think, that's where we came from? And to me, it's such a reminder about how we need to do better, be better.
Peter King, CBS News.
The president of El Salvador is at the White House this afternoon.
El Salvador has been a very critical ally as part of the president's plan to take people from this country and deport them. So far, more than 200 plus Venezuelan immigrants have been sent to El Salvador. That will be a big topic on their agenda today. And El Salvador, broadly speaking, though, has been a very critical regional ally. We've seen the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, pay a visit there. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, also make a stop there. And he is the first Latin American leader to visit the Trump White House.
It is 12:02. A new investment firm is on a mission to convert a glut of office buildings to housing across the country, including right here in Atlanta. Donahue Douglas seeks to raise up to $1.5 billion in the venture with a focus on putting empty office buildings to better use. Bloomberg reports the firm is also taking advantage of tax incentives that make conversions increasingly attractive. It's targeting 10 major cities, including Atlanta. One analysis says nearly 20% of U.S. office space is still vacant 5 years after the start of the pandemic. Donahue Douglas says there's still a vast housing shortage, creating the perfect storm for its conversion business. Cheryl Castro, 95.5 WSB. Foster care advocates are awaiting Governor Kemp's signature on a bill that would expand the current Fostering Success tax credit. Allison Ash is president and CEO of Will Root Family Services. She tells us,
with the tax credit money, we can provide housing, food, life skills training, mental health supports, and everything a young person needs to be able to launch into young adulthood.
Governor Kemp has until May 14th to sign or veto the legislation. If he does nothing, it becomes law. The tax deadline here in Georgia is extended to May 1st because of Hurricane Helene, but local CPA Eugene Reese says,
my recommendation is to go ahead and file if you can.
And she says, as you're doing your taxes, make sure to remember those deductions. And there is a warning from the IRS during tax time. Beware of scammers. One of the most common tax scams right now is a text message on email that appears to be from the IRS. It's either a text message or an email. The message may offer easy ways for you to file your taxes or a link that says that your taxes are ready. The IRS saying that they will never send a link via email or text, and they'll never demand anything from you or threaten you. You are also urged to avoid tax advice on social media. If you have to fill up your car today, we have a little bit of good news for you. Gas prices are down this week. The price for regular unleaded dropping 7 cents to $2.97 a gallon here in Georgia. That is 46 cents cheaper than it was this time last year. There is new technology being used now to give us more accurate dates as to how old some of Metro Atlanta's landmarks really are.
It's a technology usually used for climate, but dendrochronology, or counting tree rings, can also be used to tell when a structure was built.
We're going to start probably with about a half dozen structures in downtown Atlanta, including the old Rich's department store building, which is really a beautiful building.
Cobb Landmarks' Trevor Beeman says it's exciting to see Atlanta coming around to preservation of its history.
For many decades, people were really focused on building new and tearing down a lot of the local history.
Lisa Nicholas, 95.5 WSB.
Let's check your money. The Dow right now is up 69 at 40,282. NASDAQ also in positive territory, so is the S&P. Time now for a check of your roads, and let's go to Alex Williams in the 24-hour traffic center. How are we looking this noon?
not too bad if you got to take the downtown connector, either north or southbound. Looking pretty good between I-20 and 17th Street, the Midtown area for this lunch hour. We are still watching this crash investigation. It's going to be out there for a little while, shutting down Piedmont at Monroe and northeast Atlanta there. Delays in the area, not too bad, but you want to avoid that intersection. Police are on scene directing traffic. If you're traveling I-20 westbound out of Lithonia over to 285, a little slow through the work zone, although no barrels blocking any lanes. Just on and off the brakes from the mall at Stonecrest over to I-285. And over on the West Freeway, I-20 eastbound, right lane slowing, ramping onto 285, the west side perimeter. 75 south in Henry County, tapping the brakes in Stockbridge between 675 and Hudson Bridge Road. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Now your 5-day forecast brought to you by Shoemate, the official air conditioning of Atlanta.
Sunshine through this afternoon, high 82. Sunset just after 8 o'clock. Temperatures will be in the upper 70s at that time. But a cold front will swing through early tomorrow morning, knocking our temperatures down to the upper 60s, low 70s for tomorrow afternoon. Wind gusts as high as 30 miles per hour. Wednesday morning low 45, afternoon high 70. Sunshine on Thursday, morning low 48, afternoon high 76. Friday, partly cloudy, high 84.
More news at 12:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Today on the Eric Erickson Show, he's the winner of the Georgia Broadcasting Association Best On-Air Personality Award and a director, producer, and actor. Filling in for Eric today, Alan Sanders.
Hello, everyone, from coast to coast, sea to shining sea, across this wonderful nation of ours. It is so good to be with you here, once again, firmly ensconced in Eric's chair as he's out, and I'm here having a great time, and we only just started. It is a day away from tax day. I just want to talk about that for just a moment, because I still run into people who, like, oh man, I'm so happy. I'm going to be getting money back. I didn't pay any taxes this year. No, that's not what that means. That's not even close to what that means. In fact, and this is going to throw everybody for a loop, I often will tell people I would rather owe at the end of the year. I'd rather, when I go file my taxes, I'd rather owe, because you know what that means? It means the government had less of my money and I have to make it up to them when I file my taxes. If you're getting money back, you know what that means? You gave the government too much of your money, and they didn't even have the good common courtesy to give you any interest on it. They just kept it from you until you decided to point out the error. They didn't even point out the error. They weren't going to give it back to you of their own free will. They want you to go through the good effort of filing however many pieces of paper, however many schedules and reports and receipts. You have to go and make your case. Hey, Mr. and Mrs. Government, yeah, I think you took about $500 more than you were supposed to. You don't mind giving me that back, do you? Oh, sure, no problem. We'll give you that back in however many days it takes for us to process it. And then next year we'll tell you you got an extra $500 of income. I tell you, we have got a racket when it comes to the IRS. But we have a lot of people who are not educated enough to understand what a racket it is. If you're getting a refund, just understand, and we're not going to spend a lot of time because tomorrow is the filing date. You have to file, even if you're not going to be able to afford it. If you need an extension, you still have to do something. Unless, I take that back, there may be some areas of the country you may need to check locally. If you were affected by some natural disaster, you may have gotten yourself a grace period. You might have an extra couple of weeks or something. But for the most part, April 15th is tax deadline date. If you are getting money back, it means you overpaid your taxes to the government. It's not because you didn't pay taxes. You did pay them. Go look at your pay stubs. You paid them. You're going to get a small amount back that they took too much of your money. I always structure it when I look at mine, and some years it's worse than others depending on what happens in my side businesses. I've got a couple of things that I do on the side. But if those do really, really well, I know I got to set aside extra money out of each of those jobs that I do because I do a lot of independent contract work, and that independent contract work, they don't take taxes out. So when I go to declare my income, I have to make sure I let the government know, yes, I was an independent contractor, no taxes were removed, and so I'm going to probably owe you some money on that. So I, as a conscientious citizen and someone who doesn't want to get hit with a huge bill at the end of the year, I always set money aside, but I love it because I wait till the last possible instant. And when I file my taxes and I send him that check, I know that I had at least all, if not more, of my money that I could do things with during the year. And then, oh, oops, sorry, my bad, government. I owed you a few extra $100 or maybe a few thousand. I'll go ahead and take care of that right now. No interest. I like to play that game back with them. So if you're filing, have already filed, understand they want you to believe that if you got money back, that somehow you didn't pay any taxes. No, you did. In fact, what I like what Donald Trump's doing, and we're going to segue a little bit into what's been going on for the last several days, is what Trump seems to be really trying to do on multiple fronts is figure out how to put Main Street back as a priority, not just Wall Street, because what we've been doing for the last 15, 20 years is it's really been more about how Wall Street can stay profitable, and somehow everyone just has gotten it in their heads that if the stock market's doing great, that means everyone's doing great. That's not what it means. It just means those companies that are trading are trading for a profit. They're making profit. They may be selling their product for more money than they've ever sold it before. And they may be making more money because they're manufacturing that product in places where it's so cheap that they can make more money by offshoring that product, having it assembled or manufactured or whatever somewhere else, bring it back, and then sell it to us. We buy it for full value, but now the company didn't have to spend as much money to make it, so they're making more money. So Wall Street looks great. But here's the problem, and what we're discovering, and I can't believe why didn't we wake up at the start of COVID? That's been my question. The state I live in the state of Georgia. And during COVID, when it first started, we had an appointed senator for an unexpired term for one of our U.S. senators. Her name was Kelly Loeffler. And I had the privilege of sitting down with her at a special kind of, she was at an event. She was going around the country promoting, honestly, I think it was getting ready for Donald Trump's reelection. And she was promoting that as she was going from campaign, but she met in different communities. And the area where I happened to be, I had a chance to get a press pass to go in and have a one-on-one, or it was like several press people, but it was sort of like just press only. And I asked her, I said, Senator, we are now seeing, as we've been through COVID for a little while, and of course my state was one of the ones that opened their doors a lot faster, and we started throwing that stupid mask idea to the wind. I said to her, I'm like, Senator, you do understand at this point, we're looking at China as one of these countries that supplies almost, I think, 90% of the compounds for the medicines that we here in America then prescribe or use or put together, whatever. The compounds, most of it is produced in China because it's cheaper to do it there. Now, all of a sudden, China, and remember the big pushback, no, they didn't release it. No, it wasn't in a lab. No, remember, that was the narrative, right? You know why that narrative was there? And it seems more clear than ever? Because people up high enough up in the food chain, in the National Institutes of Health, the CDC and others, were like, if we upset China too much and they stop producing the compounds that we need, we're in trouble. We got to play nice. We kind of, think about this, folks. We were forced to, as a nation, to allow China to not cooperate, not answer questions, and then when they said no, it happened naturally, and everybody that was in our government that knew what they were funding and knew who the culprit was, knew it was released out of a lab, they couldn't say anything because, number one, they were already doing something that they weren't supposed to by using a backdoor channel. Remember, Dr. Fauci gave a bunch of money to his buddy at EcoHealth Alliance, right? But then, even if they had wanted to go after China, what are you going to do? You're going to go to the country that's supplying 90% of the compounds you need for your drugs and then make them angry? And so now, who's really in charge and who's beholden to whom? And so I was asking the senator, I said, shouldn't we have learned our lesson already at this point that we need to start looking for to diversify where we're getting all these compounds to make sure we're not just putting all our eggs in one basket? Isn't that what they always tell you when it comes to your investing? Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Make sure you've got some diversity. Make sure you've got some things that you can you fall back on in case something goes wrong. You've got something else that you can fall back on. Well, what happens if China decides, Well, we just don't want to give these compounds to the United States anymore. What happens to all of you folks out there that are on your meds? Some of you are on 3, 4, 5, maybe even life-saving, but just you're on regular medications for diabetes, for heart problems, for blood thinners, or whatever. We should have learned this lesson at the very beginning of COVID. Why would we let ourselves, as I would argue, one of the most powerful nations in the world, why would you let us be actually beholden to the economic power that we've put into China simply because we like the idea of what? Cheaper products? So we're okay with what? Slave labor? Less quality? People working 14, 18-hour days? And we don't have to see it. We don't have to know about it. They're not our people. Who cares? We just want cheap stuff. I get what Donald Trump is doing. One of the things I started saying at the very beginning of the whole tariff announcement was you do understand Donald Trump always has an ulterior, or excuse me, he's got a point to what he's trying to do. The big point was, yes, let's renegotiate among our friends and allies because we were being taken advantage of. But at the very least, you weren't going to bring them to the table to talk unless there was some actual fear that their economy was going to take a hit. And let's face it, I think a lot of countries are living on a very thin thread. Most are in debt. Look at us. We're at 36, almost 37 now, trillion in debt. We're spending $2 trillion a year more than we actually bring in. That's not a winning plan. That's not a sustainable message for a nation. Donald Trump is like, okay, let's try to renegotiate. But we can't just go after China directly, which I believe was always his target. I believe that was always his goal, was to bring China under control, to make it where it was so unprofitable now to be hooked into China, it would force other people to start looking for partners in maybe India or Brazil or maybe in the UK or maybe even in Israel or other places where we could have a much better business relationship and a less reliance on China. But here's what he learned from his first time. Because remember, Donald Trump put a bunch of sanctions on China, or a bunch of tariffs in his first term, and when he's Trump 45. But what did he learn? China would just be like, oh, okay, so you're going to put a big tariff on us if we send a product directly to the United States. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to send the product to our friends in Mexico. We own other companies in Mexico. We'll just send our product there, and then Mexico can send our product into the country to avoid the tariffs. See, China they're not stupid either. I mean, they figured out how to steal everybody's intellectual capital. They figured out how to go in and they get businesses to agree to terms that I don't even understand. The whole Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, let's build a server farm in China, but only because China says you have to give us access to all your data. And they go, okay. I think what we're seeing, folks, is Donald Trump recognized that China is very, very deceitful. They are not a good actor on the world stage. And they are not to be trusted. And if you just try to put sanctions or tariffs only on China, they're going to do what they did last time. They're just going to do an end around on you. But if you put sanctions or tariffs on everyone, and I mean literally everyone, so there is no loophole that allows you to do a backdoor and avoid those sanctions, yeah, you've upset some of our friends, and it's going to force them to kind of come back to the table to find a fairer arrangement. But look what he's doing. He's isolated China. He's put China on its own, and I think the rest of the free world is like, look they don't want to give up the fact that they have become kind of the central hub of manufacturing and it's not just mineral excavating. You could find these rare earth minerals, but they actually have the market on the refining of those minerals, those rare earth minerals. I think the rest of the world hopefully is going to start waking up. Why are we putting all of our eggs in China's basket? Just because they're cheaper? Well, here Donald Trump is saying they're not going to be cheaper anymore. We're not going to let them be cheaper anymore. We're going to force American companies to either come back here or at least have better arrangements with other nations other than the one country who's made it their solemn vow to try to figure out how to take over the rest of the world, and they can do it economically if they want. They want to win the AI race. They want to win the energy race. They want to have the drug race. Well, guess what? Those are 3 of the 4 things that if the United States loses any one of those 3, we're in trouble. We cannot afford to lose the AI race. We certainly can't afford to lose the energy race, which is what our last administration was all about, trying to figure out how to hamstring our energy. We can't lose the pharmaceutical race because, let's face it, we are one of those countries who loves to take a magic pill for everything. We can't keep letting China have those as wins, and we certainly, when it comes to AI, we can't give them the final win, because if they get to artificial supreme intelligence, when they can create a system that can find its way into every one of our systems, including our electrical grid, and then can hold us hostage, yeah, sure. For the time up to that point, you can say, look, I got my sneakers for $5 cheaper because they were made in China, but now they're going to own us. And I kind of like my freedom, so I'm not all about being owned by anybody.
Let me tell you, oldglorybank.com, they could be your bank. They are my bank. They are really a bank. They're a great bank, oldglorybank.com. You can go online and you can get an account in less than 8 minutes at oldglorybank.com. All you have to do is go to oldglorybank.com, fill out the form. You can get checking savings. If you're a business, you can get a business account. They do mortgages. They do lines of credit. They do car loans. They do CDs. They're fully operational bank, and they're by conservatives for conservatives. Member FDIC, equal housing lender, terms and conditions apply. Now, let's say you want to invest in Old Glory Bank. They have bypassed Wall Street for Main Street for investing, and they're selling their stock directly to you through own.oldglorybank.com. If you want to be an investor, I did this, by the way, full disclosure. I am an investor in Old Glory Bank now, and you can too if you want to do it. Stock goes up and down. It is not FDIC insured. There are no guarantees. You should talk to a professional, but you can go to own.oldglorybank.com, own.oldglorybank.com if you're interested. But if you just want the bank account, go to oldglorybank.com, fill out the form, and you get a checking account, savings account, a business account, and they're great for businesses.
Have something to say? Hello. Call the show. 1-877-97-ERIC. That's 1-877-973-7425.
1222 Cool Ray Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Seeing a few brake lights through the lunch hour through Midtown, 7585 southbound. Seeing some delay from 17th Street as you make your way down to Cortlandt Street, I should say. Don't forget, crash investigation continues northeast Atlanta. Piedmont Avenue, Piedmont Road shut down right there at Monroe Drive. Make sure you avoid that. Police on scene directing traffic. And still seeing some volume in the work zone into Cab. I-20 westbound on and off the brakes from the mall at Stonecrest over to 285. Traffic brought to you by John Foy & Associates, personal injury law firm. If you've been hurt on the job, call John Foy & Associates today. Navigating the laws of workers' comp is not something you should take on alone. John Foy & Associates, know Georgia workers' comp laws. Call their team today. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
On air, online, on the app, where you get your news is where you'll win. Are you serious? Download the WSB radio app now and maybe win $1,000. OMG! The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 words, 5 times a day, every weekday. Oh my God, you just made my day! Just enter the word at WSBradio.com or on the WSB radio app. The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz begins Monday, April 21st on 95.5 WSB.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of Atlanta. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of Atlanta. Enter now at overheaddooratlanta.com. You can't win if you don't enter. Go to overheaddooratlanta.com.
This is Scott Slade, and this is my health story. I get a checkup every year. In last September, my primary care physician was troubled by a suspicious number of my lab work. I'll never forget his words. I want somebody looking over my shoulder on this. Well, that led to a diagnosis early enough to give me options and optimism for a good outcome. When we're talking about our health, we shouldn't be shy. I think it's important to talk about what can kill you or rob you of your quality of life. Heart disease is still the nation's #1 killer. And what I think should be right up there with it, procrastination. We all need expert eyes looking us over every so often to spot problems while we still have options to deal with them. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. I am living proof that preventive medicine can save lives. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from Virtual Imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free, with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com. Do it now while you still have options.
Just like your car, your septic system needs regular maintenance. Hi, I'm Shannon, the owner of Scorpion Septic. If you're seeing bubbles in your toilet, pooling in your yard, slow draining, or your toilet won't flush, you need Scorpion Septic.
Take the sting out of septic service with Scorpion Septic, where there is never a pump out charge with your repair. Call for more information. ScorpionSepticServices.com.
ScorpionSepticServices.com. It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
It's your money. Get it sooner. All you need is direct deposit with a checking or savings account at Coosa Valley Credit Union. This is Andy Harris, president of Coosa Valley Credit Union. Not only can you get your money sooner, but we believe in kinder banking where you deal with real people in person. So come see us.
If you're seeing cracks in the walls upstairs, downstairs, or outside, maybe even a door not closing, call the Foundation Repair Specialist. Hi, it's Mark Beckham here with Atlanta Ramjack, and we are your leading foundation repair experts. Set up your free estimate right now at atlantaramjack.com.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
973-7425.
Yes, if you'd like to call in, absolutely. I will be more than happy to take your call. If there's anything that we're talking about for the next few hours, feel free to join. 877-97-ERIC or 877-973-7425. I'm Alan Sanders. I am filling in for Eric. For those of you who are longtime listeners, you're like, well, that's not Eric. No, it's not. But if you've been longtime listeners, you know that I get the call up from the bullpen every now and then to come in and take some of the innings off of Eric so he could take some time with family and friends. This is Passover. This is the week. It started off with, in the Christian tradition, we had Palm Sunday. I have some friends in Israel. They were celebrating Passover for the last couple of days. It is a week that is, I would say, probably the single most important week in the Christian faith. This is the week that we remember the steps that Jesus took through to come back home, and within a week is betrayed, is beaten to within an inch of his life, and then crucified and died. Even he knew what was coming, and the night before, praying in the garden, was like, if there's any way this can pass me by, but he also understood his duty, he understood what his purpose was, and he understood that's what he was here for. And I just can't imagine most human beings enduring what he went through for us. Now, I'm not an Eric. I'm not comfortable giving Bible thoughts and lessons. I've not gone to any kind of seminary or schooling. I just know what I believe, having been raised as a Christian. I was raised as a Roman Catholic my whole life. So this week is one of those just important weeks. And depending on where you are, I will say this. We are wired as human beings. We are wired for a belief system. Now, if you've rejected everything to do with something bigger and greater than you out there, you don't believe in God or Allah or whatever, you will fill that void with something. And more often than not, you're going to pick something secular like government, and that's never, never good.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic,
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 12:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Jim Ellis Automotive. The ex-husband of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, Perry Greene, agrees to a $75,000 settlement for harassing 3 Muslim women who were praying at Avalon in Alpharetta. The women speaking at a news briefing in Johns Creek today.
Clearly, he saw us as an easy target. 3 young women who were praying out of everyone's way.
Now, Greene privately and publicly apologized and attended services at a local mosque. The women saying that they hope this is a learning experience. Sunny and warm today, headed for a high of 82 this afternoon, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast coming up in just a matter of minutes. Now to West Texas. That is the sound as 6 women came back to Earth. They returned from space following their out-of-this-world ride on board the commercial space jet Blue Origin rocket this morning. Katy Perry was among them, and she talked about her experience afterwards.
This experience is second to being a mom.
And this was Jeff Bezos' company's first all-female space flight since 1963. The White House defending its decision to deport a man from Maryland said to have been mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador. Speaking from the Oval Office with the president of El Salvador, President Trump again said courts do not dictate America's foreign policy. Secretary of State Marco Rubio adding that the person in question is a citizen of El Salvador and is in the U.S. illegally and was simply, quote, sent back to his country of origin. In a court filing Sunday, the Department of Justice said that the courts have no authority to force the administration to seek the return of the man. And we all know it's busy, the airport. Well, Hartsfield-Jackson once again named the world's busiest airport. Atlanta's big airport saw more than 108 million passengers last year. That's up from more than 104 million in 2023. Let's take a look at the markets. Check your money. We're in the green. The Dow's up 112 at 40,325. NASDAQ and S&P also up here at 1232.
Looking to get organized in style? The brand new Artisan Custom Closet showroom is now open near Trilla Studios in Fayetteville. Come experience the Artisan difference. Meet with a designer for your free consultation and start your custom project today. See more at artisancustomclosets.com.
Guys, if you're having ED or performance issues and Viagra and Cialis haven't worked, you need to come see Choice Men's Health. Give us a call or visit us online at choicemenshealth.com. Get your love life back and choose Choice Men's Health.
Love is the most powerful force in the world. Real love, that is. Real love gives more than it takes, commits more than it demands. Real love is a decision, not a feeling. It's action, not emotion. It's self-sacrifice for the well-being of others. God himself is this love, and he sent Jesus because he loves us. Would you consider getting in on it, receiving it, and then giving it wildly to those around you? This is Tom Gray, and This Stuff Matters.
ThisStuffMatters.net. When your air conditioner or furnace breaks down, the last thing you need is more surprises. That's why at Jape Services, you'll always get a free estimate with honest, upfront pricing. Hi, this is Daniel Jape, and we've helped thousands of your friends and neighbors with their heating and cooling needs, and our reputation depends on offering the best solution. Whether you need maintenance, repairs, or a new system, call the company you can trust, Jape Services.
Count on us, Jape Services.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
Alex Williams, how are we doing on the roads?
Still watching a few brake lights through Midtown, 7585 south from 17th Street down to North Avenue, and crash investigation continues. Monroe at Piedmont, Northeast Atlanta. Police have that intersection blocked. Traffic being rerouted through the parking lots there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunshine today, warming up to a high of 82.
It is 72 degrees right now in Fairburn, 75 in Sandy Springs. More news at 1 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Filling in for Eric today, Alan Sanders.
Welcome back. Great to have you along. Alan Sanders filling in for Eric. Great to be here with you on this wonderful network of his, from sea to shining sea, all across this wonderful nation of ours. 877-97-ERIC, E-R-I-C-K. That's 877-973-7425. I was talking about, in the last segment, I just want to kind of dovetail one last thing about Trump and doing what he is doing. One of the nice things is in a philosophy of America first. It doesn't mean that we're going to denigrate our friends. It doesn't mean that we're going to treat our friends poorly. But what America first means is the deals we cut should make sure that the winner of that deal, it could be a win-win, but you should always be striving for a win for us. He's the president of the United States. Yes, he gets the title of leader of the free world, and that's sort of because of the power that the United States is. But he is really just the president of the United States. He's not the president of the UK. He's not the president of France or Italy or Poland or Ukraine. He is the president of the United States. And you have to put the interests of the United States first. Just what he's done. Think about what he's done with the pause. And I love it. Everyone... is the legacy mainstream media just filled with ignorant people who don't know who think? Did they all realize that when he proposed these sometimes 20 to 25 to 30% tariffs and then put the pause, he said, well, what we're going to do is we're going to roll it back to 10% while we negotiate for 90 days. For a lot of our friends that we were already in an arrangement with, it's still an increase. If we only had a 3% or a 5% tariff on stuff coming from, let's say, the UK, and they had a 20% tariff, and we are agreeing to negotiate, and we say, yeah, fine, we were going to put it 20%, whatever, and we bring it down to 10, well, that's still 5 more than it was. What we're doing for the first time in, I don't know how many years, the United States is actually starting to make money from our friends and allies in the business of the trade of goods and services. We are finally in the business of actually being positive growth month to month versus negative. I've never understood this long-term thinking that, and again, it comes from Wall Street. Well, as long as we're profitable in our companies, that's good for the country. And that you look at so many communities, so many middle America communities that are gutted. You look at the fact that small banks are being gobbled up. There's no small banks anymore. Look, how many of you are in a community right now where you can point out, maybe you've been affected, where your bank got purchased by another bank, then suddenly got sold to another bank, and now is in negotiation for the 4th time in maybe the last 5-6 years for another bank? Just from this perspective alone, just understand, that's great for the big banks. The big banks now all of a sudden have all these bigger balance sheets. They've got all these more customers. It looks like it's great. And again, on Wall Street, that is great. But let me ask you, do the mega banks, do these large banks, do they care about you opening your maybe your little mom and pop cupcake shop or donut shop on Main Street, USA, your little small town? Do you think the big banks are going to look at you with a business plan that maybe you hope to earn after paying all your bills, maybe eke out a $50,000 to $60,000 a year income for yourself after paying all your bills, where you might need a couple of $1 million of investment? That's why the small banks existed. There was always sort of like the financial institutions for small town America kind of went hand in hand with those small businesses. You had medium banks for those kind of suburbs just between the country and the city. And then the big banks for inside the city. And it made sense because of the size of the clientele. You know, the big bank can make a lot more money dealing with, let's say, a Donald Trump loaning him billions of dollars to build something versus you who said, hey, I'd like $1 million small business loan. You're a flea on the back of a giant dog. You're going to get just flicked off and not even paid attention to. But yet, Main Street is being forgotten because these smaller banks got gobbled up by bigger banks. The bigger banks now getting gobbled up by even bigger ones. So who's going to loan to the small company? Who's going to loan? So you can't just look at our economic health as, is Wall Street okay? because there's a lot more to it than just Wall Street. And I like the idea that we are trying to, at the very least, we're trying something different, because we've been going down the same road for a long, long time. I don't want to say our decline was being managed, but you can't look at it any other way. How do you look at the debt growing and growing and growing, and yet we've got more fraud, more waste, more corruption, more abuse, because we're taking in more and more money, but it's not going to what it needs to go to. It's going to anything else, but it doesn't seem to be going to what we expect government to do. And then we bring in, I know I'm a little bit of a rant here, but we then bring in somebody who's really good at auditing. Really, really good, because Elon Musk, you could hate him, but if you think he's an idiot, if you think he's dumb, I can't help you. I just can't. The idea that a guy that didn't start $1 billion empire in any industry, any sector, is amazing. To have five individual, completely separate, but all multi-billion-dollar institutions? Come on. The guy knows how to look at a balance sheet. He knows how to find where money's going, because he likes working on a shoestring. He really likes, he likes to know that the money being used to do the job is being used appropriately. Look what he did with X, okay? He got rid of 75% of the people between attrition and just firing people. And, oh, yeah, there was a huge orchestrated campaign from the left to try to boycott advertising. Did you not see what happened 2 months ago? I think it was in February. It was the New York Times. They had to admit that while he hasn't gotten back to that same level of total dollars sold for advertising, I think he was at maybe $400 million in advertising sales, and he was only bringing in $200 million. He has cut his costs so much that he's actually more profitable today than X, or Twitter at the time, ever was. And now, just last month, when he remember what he bought Twitter for? $40 billion? And then everybody started laughing oh my God, he totally got rooked. There's no way that company's worth $40 billion. Did you see the valuation for X? It's back up to $40 billion. So he not only has rebuilt it, but he's rebuilt it with 1/4 of the workforce that had been there for the decade or so when Twitter became the thing that it was. You don't do that because you're stupid. That doesn't just happen by blind luck. So you bring this guy in. He plugs in to try to figure out, okay, let's start mapping out where all the money's coming from, where it's all going to. It's just data. We're really good at analyzing data. And, oh, by the way, in the first time in maybe human history, we actually have thinking computers. We've got machine language learning computers, the very basic generation that's starting AI. I know we keep calling it AI. I'm not sure if it's truly that yet, but it's heading in that direction. We have the tools that can now look at and analyze millions, if not billions, of lines of information and code and synthesize it in a way that makes it easy to understand for us human beings. And all Elon Musk is doing is discovering all the fraud, all the waste, and the abuse. And so the natural tendency is yell at the messenger. I mean, if you're hiding stuff, if you're up to no good, if you've been managing our decline, but in the meantime you're making a lot of money, you don't want to see that change. No one likes change, they say. It's always difficult. But in this case, you have to ask yourself, why are so many politicians enraged over the finding of lost money? We spend $2 trillion more a year than we can bring in. You'd think it would be in the self-interest of everybody who wants to stay a nation, at least a free and prosperous nation. You would think we'd want to find that fraud, that waste, that abuse, and maybe put it to good use, by basically putting an end to it. I think the reason that they're not going to is because so many of them are on the take. Which brings me to my story here on Act Blue. Have you guys been paying attention to Act Blue? It's a major Democrat fundraising platform. It's been around for at least a decade. Basically, if you want to give money to a candidate, or maybe you want to give to a party, you want to give to a bunch of different people, you can actually go create an account on Act Blue, and you can then donate. Well, something funny happened last year, and there was some investigative reporting that was going on during the Remember when Joe Biden suddenly, everyone realized, oh, yeah, he really isn't in control of his faculties, and they just coronated Kamala Harris to run? And all of a sudden, she was getting like a lot of money from all these different places and all these sources, like instantaneously. She just out of nowhere was getting hundreds of millions of dollars. Remember, she spent, what, $2.3 billion in 100 days? Well, a lot of that money was being funneled through ActBlue. Here's what ActBlue, what we discovered last year. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because something happened just a few days ago on April 2nd. So, what, about 2 weeks ago now? Not even quite. 12 days ago? The investigative reporting last year started pulling public data on some of the candidates that were running. And what they were discovering is some candidates were receiving, because they have to report it, it's all out there. That's the crazy thing. It's just there's so much data, it's so hard to find things. But they were starting to see trends with, why is this one candidate, we'll just call him, candidate Bill, why is Bill getting 17 donations in a row from the same person within a few seconds of each other, all for like $16.18? Or maybe it's a bunch of different numbers, but all real low. And it's like, wait a minute, why would somebody, if you're going to donate the maximum, let's say you can only give $250, why would you do it in multiple small increments? Why are you doing it multiple times? Why are you doing it like 17 times in a row? So some of these investigative types, some of these non-legacy mainstream media types, we would call them new media, decided to go find these people to just say, hey, we're just kind of curious. Why? We're just doing a report. We just noticed you donated, like 17 times to this one candidate, most of it at 3 o'clock in the morning. Just curious, did you do that? And they started to realize there was a trend happening. Not only did these individuals not do that, they said, there's no way I would give that much money. You're like, well, wait a minute. How do we have you listed on the Federal Election Commission, the FEC website? How do we have you listed as having made 18 or 20 or 30 donations? Comes ActBlue. I'm going to say we'll allege what it looked like ActBlue was doing was it already had, if you created an account, it had a legitimate name, a legitimate address. You were a donor once upon a time. You put your financial information in once upon a time to make a donation. Well, they had your record. Now, I'm not suggesting they stole money out of your account. That would be bad, because then they'd get caught. But what if, let's introduce a shadowy figure. Let's introduce a character, maybe he's not even from America, maybe not even a U.S. citizen, but he wants to keep the global order happening in the way it's happening. He doesn't want to see change. He's liked the way Biden's run things. He's liked the way that actually the bureaucracy behind Biden was running things. We want to keep that status quo. So let's say you're this shadowy figure. We'll just call you Professor X. And you want candidate Bill to get a bunch of money because candidate Bill, you know he's going to be in your hip pocket because he is an out-of-control leftist. He doesn't like the Constitution. He doesn't like America as constituted or founded. He loves the liberal progressive agenda that's being exhibited. He wants a Marxist authoritarian kind of government, but he's running as a Democrat. Well, we got to get him a bunch of money. How do we get him money? I'm a foreigner. I can't give him money. That'd be wrong. In comes ActBlue. Tell you what we're going to do. You just donate to, let's say, the Democrat Party in general. You just want to see it. You want us to manage it for you. We won't take your CCV number. We won't lock down your security number, so that way we'll have plausible deniability that, well, we didn't know that you were a foreign credit card. We didn't know. We saw you donate money, and then we turned around, and what we did to make sure that we could, I'll say launder in the sense of making sure that the money's cleaned, allegedly, we'll just take an existing account that we know donated once upon a time, and we'll assign a bunch of donations automatically to that person. So that way, if it's ever looked up in the FEC, in the Federal Election Commission, they'll be like, okay, well, that's a real person. They've got a real address. They got a real social security number. They've got a real bank account. So who would dig further? Who would even question? And we'll keep the amount small. So that way, if we want to try to make it look like you're giving somebody maybe $1 million, well, we can't do that under one person, but we could maybe divide that up to the maximum donated among hundreds, if not thousands of people. And that was discovered last fall. That was Act Blue last fall. People were being walked up to and saying, did you really donate this many times? Or it looks like over the course of 3 months, you donated close to $5,000 or $10,000 to many different candidates. And they're like, I'm on a fixed income. I don't even have $500 to donate, let alone $5,000. That raised some eyebrows. Of course, legacy mainstream media didn't really run with it, did it? And this may be the first time you're hearing it. I will catch you up after the break here on where we are now with Act Blue.
Americans for Prosperity is helping the president try to push common sense conservative reforms in Washington, including his tax plan. AFP was actually very helpful with coming up with the REINS Act that conservatives are using in negotiations with the Senate, receiving positive praise. They would love to have you on their side. It's americansforprosperity.org is their website. If you go to americansforprosperity.org, you can join AFP. They're the largest leading grassroots group in the country. They happen to be on the Republican side. They fight for common sense conservative reforms. School choice around the country is a big fight for them. The REINS Act, which blocks regulators from passing onerous regulations, that's another one that they push. There are lots and lots like that, and they would love to have you on their side. All you have to do is go to americansforprosperity.org today, sign up with them. I'm on the board of advisors of AFP. They're a great group. We'd love to have you. Get involved as a conservative activist effectively. americansforprosperity.org. Go sign up today. Be a volunteer. Just get informed on a daily basis by AFP.
You're at the intersection of politics, news, culture, and current events. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
1251 Cool Day Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Still watching a few brake lights through Midtown and downtown, 7585 southbound 17th Street, down toward William Street. Also, crash investigation continues, shutting down Piedmont at Monroe there in northeast Atlanta. Police on scene directing traffic through the parking lots, so be mindful of that. And 75 northbound between Marietta and Kennesaw, seeing a few slow spots. 75 north between North Marietta Parkway and Chastain Road. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage for a limited time. Go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off. And for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
The news of the day through the eyes of Eric Von Hessler.
I've listened to many arguments, and there are good arguments to say that we should. So I'm just saying.
If it's on your mind, it's on his.
This is the only way to do it. Some people are going to lose their job, and then they're going to be put back in the job.
Eric Von Hessler, today at 3.
It's about you. You're being celebrated.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Hey, it's Scott Slade for FGA Roofing. If your home's exterior could use an updated look, or maybe one of your neighbor's designer roofs has caught your eye, and your current roof has started to show its age, then now's the perfect time to check out FGA Roofing for the latest in architectural shingles, timberland shingles, and more. Slate, tile, wood shake, cedar roofs, FGA has them all. FGA Roofing offers 0% financing for 12 months with your good credit. Get the roof you want now and pay over time. Click firstgaroof.com. That's firstgaroof.com.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group, to discuss one of the biggest blind spots that people face when saving for retirement, and it's a head scratcher. Chris, how do so many people not know what they're invested in?
That's the biggest flaw that everybody runs into. They think they know what equities they have, they think they know what bonds they have, but they really don't know how those mutual funds or how those index funds are performing in conjunction with one another. So, I would liken this to a big pot of soup, and we're just throwing all the ingredients in the refrigerator in this thing. It's not very good. It's just a mishmash of stuff. And sometimes you like the way it tastes. Sometimes you don't. And when you don't know why. You don't know if you got too much chicken in there or too much vegetables in there or what's going on. And I ask every caller that comes in for an initial consultation, do you know how your portfolio is broken down? And they say, well, I've got, 20 or so options in my 401k, and I just picked 2 of them or 3 of them. I thought I needed some international. I thought I needed some U.S. equities. I thought I needed some bonds. And they're just guessing. So you have to absolutely know what you're invested in, and that's where we will run the 401k portfolio x-ray for you, because that'll break it down. If you're not proficient at investing and don't understand this world, we will walk you through it. Not knowing what you're invested in is a big hindrance to growing and protecting your money. We will run a portfolio x-ray for you and educate you on exactly what's in your portfolio.
Set up a time to get your complimentary portfolio x-ray today. Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858. That's 404-737-3858, or book online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
Motorcycle riders like you are a different breed. You don't just ride your bike, you're obsessed. So if someone causes you to lay your bike down, you need a different kind of attorney, one that understands bikers and their rights. Eric Von Hessler here for my friends at Steel Horse Law, the Stein and Karen Law Group, motorcycle injury lawyers who ride. You can trust them on the road and in the courtroom. Steel Horse Law can help you get back on your feet, medical bills paid, and your case resolved. Trust is everything, and results matter. Free case evaluation at steelhorselaw.com.
WSB Atlanta, WSB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
All right, as we're heading to the top of the hour rapidly, let's go ahead and dive into this. I was giving you a little bit of the background of Act Blue, major Democrat fundraising platform. Now, I started covering this. By the way, I do a daily show as well. It's called The Alan Sanders Show. You can find a digital version of it wherever you find great podcasts. So if you're new to the Eric Erickson Show, obviously you should be getting the Eric Erickson Show. But if you like what you're hearing, and obviously Eric trusts me enough to fill in when he's got other things, why not give me a try? Just go look for The Alan Sanders Show on your podcatcher of choice. I covered this back in the fall last year. If you remember, House Committee Administration led by Chairman Brian Steele actually issued a subpoena to Act Blue on October 30 last year. They wanted documents related to the donor verification possibilities, as well as any exploitations by foreign actors from countries like Iran, Russia, Venezuela, and China. Isn't it ironic? All the bad actors on the stage, and it looks like they've been funneling money to the Democrat Party, allegedly. The investigation that started in October was focusing on practices such as smurfing. That's what I just talked about, where you make it look like you take a large donation and you try to hide it by putting it under a bunch of legitimate accounts that have been created or people's addresses, but they had no idea the donation was being made in their name, let alone sometimes multiple times. They also, again, as I mentioned, would not use or require that CVV code that you have on the back of your credit card to confirm who you are. According to a more recent story, and this is why I wanted to bring it to you, a joint interim staff report was released on April 2nd. Now, in the middle of all the stuff with Donald Trump, in the middle of all of the Doge and everything, you probably didn't even hear about this. But it was a joint interim report released by both the House Judiciary as well as Administration and Oversight Committees, and detailed findings of lax fraud prevention policies, including 237 donations from foreign IP addresses using domestic prepaid cards in a 30-day period just in 2024. Additionally, 19 Republican state attorneys generals have now launched probes of their own into Act Blue, with Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton filing a petition with the FEC citing suspicious straw donations. So now we're also finding what they were doing is just buying up gift cards, so those gift cards would look like local purchases in the United States to, once again, funnel foreign donations into the pockets of Democrats.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
News, weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1 o'clock. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. The ex-husband of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene has reached a settlement now after he harassed 3 Muslim women at Avalon and Alpharetta.
Perry Greene has paid the women $75,000 for what he said during a now viral incident at the Avalon. The settlement comes after Greene privately and publicly apologized and attended services at a local mosque. Nesreen, one of the women seen in the video, says,
I want to be clear that we do not care about money or media attention. We care about safety, security, and equality. We wanted to help to make sure that this type of incident does not occur again.
All of the money has been donated to their local mosque. In Johns Creek, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
All right, so your weather for today is going to be beautiful, sunny, warm, highs around 82, says WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards. She'll have Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast straight ahead. 2 people killed in an RV fire in Lilburn. The call came in early Saturday morning about a fire and explosion on Bent Willow Drive. Lieutenant Jeff Golan with Gwinnett Fire says the RV trailer was fully engulfed when they arrived on scene.
After they went through the structure, they started overhauling it to try to get all the hot spots. They did find the remains of 2 adults.
He says it was a man and a woman. No names have yet been released. The White House is defending its decision to deport a man from Maryland mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador. Attorney General Pam Bondi says there's evidence the man is a gang member.
He was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, 2 courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country.
And speaking from the Oval Office with the president of El Salvador, President Trump again said courts do not dictate America's foreign policy. Secretary of State Marco Rubio adding that the person in question is a citizen of El Salvador and in this country illegally and was simply sent back to his country of origin. A day for the history books, the first time an all-female crew launched into space. CBS Morning's Gayle King was among the 6 women on board. Once back on the ground, she had this to say about the experience.
It's oddly quiet when you get up there. It's really quiet and peaceful. And you look down at the planet and you think, that's where we came from?
And Katy Perry also on the flight. She says the experience was second to being a mom. April 15th is tax day, but states impacted by natural disasters in 2024 and 25, like Georgia, have been issued an automatic deadline extension from the IRS. Here in Georgia, we have until May 1st to file taxes. It's 102.
It's Eric Erickson here. Every single day now, I deal with a malicious request to click a link. My daughter the other day got a text message some of you have probably gotten. Click on it and pay your toll, and it's just a scam. All these things keep happening. They're preying upon the young, senior citizens, and you and me. But there's good news. Vision Computer is here to help you. If you have their managed service, you're never alone, and in just 15 seconds, expert tech support is at your fingertips, ready to protect you from online threats, scams, and computer problems. And you don't have to take my word for it. We're a Vision Computer household, but they've got thousands of 5-star reviews beyond my household reviews, but I'd give them 5 stars too. They've got thousands and thousands of 5-star reviews because they're simply the best. Call them at 404-COMPUTE today or visit them online at visioncomputers.com, because when it comes to your security, you can't afford to wait. Vision will take care of you. Tell them I sent you. Call them at 404-COMPUTE or go to visioncomputers.com.
Men, trouble in the bedroom? Not anymore. Priority Men's Medical Center restores your love life in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE. Here's a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Simovitz. Have Viagra or Cialis let you down? Priority Men's Medical Center offers the most effective treatments that eliminate ED and PE, with men lasting longer than ever. 98% of patients see instant results on their first visit.
Priority Men's Medical Center's breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. Your consultation and first treatment are free. You'll see instant results in the office. Plus, qualified patients get their testosterone checked free. Call 404-885-8885. 404-885-8885. To restore your love life in just one visit, call now. 404-885-8885.
As Georgia's homegrown leader in business insurance, Builders partners with thousands of local businesses to safeguard workers and help them return to their lives after injuries. Explore reliable workers' compensation solutions at BLDRS.com. Builders, insurance built strong.
At Barlow Lexus of South Atlanta, they just don't sell cars. They set the standard of amazing. Enjoy personalized service, a Starbucks cafe, and airport parking concierge because you deserve more than just a car. Visit BarlowLexusSouthAtlanta.com or call 800-NEW-LEXUS today because they value you.
Live team coverage of traffic and weather. Alex Williams in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Cars dodging debris in DeKalb County. I-20 westbound just past Candler Road, exit 65. It's in the right lane. Heads up for that. Elsewhere, still watching the crash investigation continue on Piedmont at Monroe there in northeast Atlanta. All lanes shut down. Police directing traffic through a parking lot. And heads up for construction up in Cherokee County on Highway 140, Hickory Flat Highway at Sugar Pike Drive. It is causing a little bit of volume in both directions there. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today, high 82, lows tonight in the upper 50s to low 60s. A cold front passing by tomorrow morning will keep our afternoon highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Wind gusts tomorrow afternoon as high as 30 miles per hour.
WSB Storm Tracker radar is clear. It's sunny and 73 right now in Johns Creek. Buford, you have 76 degrees, and it's sunny and 75 in Peachtree City. We'll have more news at 1:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Today on the Eric Erickson Show, he's the winner of the Georgia Broadcasting Association Best On-Air Personality Award and a director, producer, and actor. Filling in for Eric today, Alan Sanders.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And if you're just now tuning in, well, thanks for being here. We appreciate it. Eric is out. I'm in. Alan Sanders here for you. And the phone number is still the same, 877-97-ERIC. That's 877-973-7425. I want to go into this case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. For the last several days, and I've watched the same people who always seem to misrepresent just enough of the facts to create an impression. They leave enough truth to go, oh, it's kind of the truth, but they always either insert something or leave something out. And we call that legacy mainstream media. And as we've learned from USAID, the bought and paid for legacy mainstream media. How many of you have heard that this guy was, quote, mistakenly abducted from his Maryland home and mistakenly sent to El Salvador's prison? How many of you heard that? That it was a mistake, that he wasn't supposed to be taken? Oh, goodness, y'all. You know what happened with, oh, by the way, that was a true line that was written into the briefing by someone from the Department of Justice. But you probably didn't hear that guy was canned. Okay? They got rid of that guy simply because he was trying to put out an agenda. He wasn't taking orders. He wasn't following what they were supposed to be doing, and he wanted to create the issue. The DOJ lawyer has been relieved of duty. The White House calling him a saboteur and a Democrat put into a filing incorrectly. He put it in the filing that this was a mistaken removal. How is someone who is illegally here from El Salvador, how are we mistakenly removing him? Where are we going to send him? He's from El Salvador. Where do you send someone who is here illegally from El Salvador? Do you send him to Nicaragua? Do you send him to Mexico? Where do you send someone whose home country is El Salvador? Where would you send him? But he was living in peace, and they said he was a gang member. Well, a previous judge said that in a ruling that he was identified as a gang member, MS-13. But let's just go beyond something here. I get it. I've already upset a lot of you out there who want to believe, because for whatever reason, the same people who knowingly lie to you and misrepresent and mislead, you still go to them because they're saying what you want to believe is true rather than actually look for the truth. When you look at what the Supreme Court ruled in a 9-0 ruling, they said that if it turns out that this guy was mistakenly taken, then this administration, the Trump White House, has to facilitate his return. Now, that doesn't mean they go kidnap an El Salvadorian that has been exported from our country, who's been removed from our country per another order that he had been ignoring. What are we going to do? We're going to go kidnap somebody? We're going to pull him off the street from El Salvador just to bring him back? What it means when you see the 9-0 that says, well, if El Salvador, if the government decides to send this guy back, we can't deny him entrance. But that's what it means to facilitate. It just means that, okay, fine. 9-0 decision. Supreme Court says, you know what? You can't, you're going to have to facilitate his return. Okay. If somebody wants to get him back in the United States, we'll be more than happy to meet him at the airport, let him back into the United States. We'll take him into custody, and then you know what we're going to do? We're just going to deport him again. Why? Because he had a deportation order already. He was supposed to be deported. I understand. It's emotional, and unfortunately, sometimes when people make an emotional plea or they have an emotional story, it tugs at our heartstrings, we get emotionally involved, and then it turns off the logic and reason centers in our brain. Look at the facts of the case. This guy had already been to a deportation hearing. He is an illegal from El Salvador. So he already had been ordered, by the way, in 2019 to be deported. He was actually in a final removal order from the United States. This was it. He didn't have any more appeals. He was ordered removed from the United States of America. So even if you want to throw out, okay, well, we're not sure he was MS-13, irrelevant. It is 1,000% irrelevant. You're just grasping at what you want to believe as the emotional story, which is what? Donald Trump is just grabbing people he doesn't like, people that don't look like him, and deporting them without due process. That's the narrative they're running with. He didn't get his due process. What do you call going through all of the hearings to get a final removal order, and he was still here? 2019, folks. Where was he born? El Salvador. So what is he, what country is he a citizen of? Not the United States, El Salvador. He is a citizen where he was born and has citizenship in his country. So what are we supposed to do? Go break him out of prison? Go get him? Well, the reason they were worried about him going back to his home country is he was a member of a different gang. Not that he was ever a gang member. I mean, oh, shoot, did I just say he was, this other gang wanted to kill him, and so we didn't want to send him to El Salvador. Yeah, well, that other gang has been disbanded and has been broken up. There is no other gang anymore. The 18th Street Gang, look it up. The 18th Street Gang no longer exist. Now, maybe there's some individual remnants, and for all we know, there could be some individual person who still holds a grudge against this guy. Hey, you run around in dirty circles, you do a lot of dirty things, you decide to get involved with criminals. Don't be surprised if that cuts into your life expectancy. Here's what you want to hear, a tip. It's not a guarantee to live longer, but don't get involved with gangs. And along with it, don't do drugs. You know, You want to live a little longer. I don't know. Don't associate with criminal elements, especially when those criminal elements get joy out of killing people, sometimes torturing first, then killing. I'm just thinking if you want maybe a little bit more of a guarantee, you want to up the odds, you want to make it a little bit more in your favor, don't run around with gangs. He has been judged as an MS-13 gang member, no matter what the emotional pleas are. He was not mistakenly removed. That was actually written into the order by a guy who is no longer with the Department of Justice. He was MS-13. This administration has declared MS-13 a terrorist organization. This guy did not belong in the United States of America. By all rights, he should have been deported back in 2019. So you got an illegal from El Salvador here, but we're supposed to facilitate his return. Great, fine, bring him back. And then what are we going to do? We're going to send him somewhere. He's not staying here. He's already had his day in court. By the way, how many of you are hearing this for the first time? And yet, I guarantee there'll be some group of you out there who's like, I can't believe this. I can't believe this. Okay, you can go look it up. We live in an age where this stuff's readily available. But the same people who knowingly lie to you about political agendas are lying to you again, and you want to believe the lie. Why? Because it suits a political purpose. You want to know how we have, how I know that the Democrat Party specifically has no core? No core whatsoever. You cannot pin them down because you could find what they said 3 years ago and ran on, maybe even ran for president on, and because now Donald Trump is saying the same thing today, they're doing the exact opposite. Their only core value is we have to do everything opposite of Donald Trump. If he made the sun come up tomorrow, we're going to tell you how awful sunlight is. If he cured cancer, we'll tell you how he put all these doctors out of work. If he finds a way to get more income from our friends and allies, this group is going to say this was the wrong thing to do and we have treated our friends so poorly and we're going to write legislation to return the tariffs back to where they were. They are the opposition party only. You don't believe me about the views of some of the more radical elements of the Democrat Party? I'm going to give you the aardvark. I'm going to give you Senator Bernie Sanders from Vermont. This was actually a soundbite he had. This was in 2019, same year this guy got his deportation. This is, at that time, Bernie Sanders running for office. Excuse me, this is 2015. I take it back. 2015, the first time he was running. 2015... And I want you to hear him. This is actually at the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, of all things. So he's talking to a Hispanic audience. This was Senator Bernie Sanders, 2015.
There is a reason why Wall Street and all of corporate America likes immigration reform. And it is not, in my view, that they are staying up nights worrying about undocumented workers in this country. What I think they are interested in is seeing a process by which we can bring low-wage labor of all levels into this country to depress wages in America. And I strongly disagree with that. I mentioned to you a moment ago that unemployment rates for kids in this country, high school kids, white 33%, Hispanic 36%, African-American 51%. I frankly do not believe that we should be bringing in significant numbers of unskilled workers to compete with those kids. That's my view. I want to see these kids get jobs. When you have 36% of Hispanic kids in this country who can't find jobs, and you bring a lot of unskilled workers into this country, what do you think happens to that 36% of kids who are today unemployed? 51% of African-American kids. I don't think there's any candidate for president, none, who thinks that we should open up the borders.
Oh, so Bernie Sanders in 2015 thought we shouldn't have those borders open, believed that the reason the borders were left open at that time was to flood the market with cheap labor. Then here comes Donald Trump, and by 2019, closing off the border and getting the lowest numbers down in his first term in office. And where was Bernie Sanders? This is unconscionable. This is xenophobia. He hates people that don't look like him. He goes after the black and brown people. Really? You changed your core message in 4 years? Feel the burn? You went from, hey, I'm here to protect the American worker of all. You remember, he gave you and by the way, he was absolutely correct at that time. He was 100% correct. White kids on the teenage unemployment, 33%. Hispanic, 36%. African American, 53%. He always, at least it seemed like, wanted to protect American workers. Here comes Donald Trump. You're right, Bernie. We need to close the border. We need to stem the tide. What does he do? Does Bernie Sanders say, thank you? That's what I've been saying. Nope. He opposes. The party still opposes Donald Trump. Look what Joe Biden did for 4 years. The Biden regime was open borders, and it was by design, it was on purpose, and it was designed to flood the country with enough people that would be given a loophole end around, a wink and a nod. We'll get you a temporary Social Security number because you're here claiming amnesty, and it'll take 6 years or so before you ever see a courtroom. But we'll get you a Social Security card, and while we're at it, we'll try to encourage you to register to vote, and hey, go ahead and vote. They wanted a permanent voter underclass. They wanted to do this on purpose. It's funny. Bernie Sanders was all opposed to it until all of a sudden Donald Trump started to implement it.
Let me tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them, save $200, get them for less than $200 at EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com. They're an air purifier, and they're also an odor eliminator. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm wipes out odors. It wipes out 99.9% of bacteria and viruses as well. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm is a great little device. It traps pollen, pet dander, dust, and electrostatic plates, so you don't have to have a filter subscription. Just clean it out on occasion. It plugs in with a USB cord into even a computer or a car outlet, and it also plugs into the wall, and it packs a wallop, and it wipes out odors. No odor can stand up to it. Litter box odors, dirty diaper odors, pet odors, you name it. EdenPureDeals.com is the website. Eden Pure Deals. Eden like the Garden of Eden. Pure as the driven snow. EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3 at EdenPureDeals.com.
Follow Eric on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Rumble. Search EW Erickson.
122, Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. New trouble in the cab, stalled big rig in the second right lane. 285 northbound, the outer loop at I-20, exit 46. You're slowing back toward Flat Shoals, exit 48. Just cleared up some debris from the right lane. 20 westbound near Candler Road, exit 65. And crash investigation continues, although tow truck on the scene for this one. Piedmont at Monroe, northeast Atlanta. That intersection is still blocked. Police directing traffic there. Traffic brought to you by Lear Capital. Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver report and precious metals IRA guide at betternestegg.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Hey, Taxman got you down?
How about a $1,000 pickup?
Win $1,000. 5 different keywords. 5 chances every weekday.
I just won $1,000 on WSB.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
Beginning Monday, April 21st.
Download the WSB app. Rules and info at WSBradio.com/cash.
It's Eric here, and with the election ended, there is change in the air. A new day dawns for American businesses. New regulations, new deregulation, new tax plan, new tax cuts. You may be smelling opportunity in the air. You may be seeing opportunity. Now is the time to consider reaching out to First Liberty Building and Loan and see if they might be able to help you put your plan that's in your head down to paper and see if they can help you capitalize on it. There are so many opportunities out there. If you need to borrow $750,000 or more, well, First Liberty might be able to help you. They make their own lending decisions. They've been doing it since the 90s. They know how to do it, and because the Frost family's been helping businesses since the 90s, they're still going to be there. You're not going to have lender rollover like you've had at other places. Reach out to them, FirstLibertyGA.com. FirstLibertyGA.com. Spend 10 minutes with them, see if you're a fit for them and them for you. FirstLibertyGA.com.
Hi, this is Candace from X Ovations, and have I I got a tip for you. But today, instead of giving you a home remodeling tip, my tip is don't just take my word for it. For over 20 years, you've heard me on the radio sharing remodeling advice. But if you really want to know what sets Exovations apart, go read our reviews. At exovations.com, you'll find hundreds of real stories from real homeowners who have trusted us with their exterior remodeling projects. From decks, siding, windows, doors, paint, roofing, porticos, and so much more. You'll see words like amazing work, incredible experience from start to finish, and again, stress-free. That's not just what we say, it's what our customers say. So yes, I'm Candace from Exovations, but don't just listen to me. Listen to our reviews. At Exovations, we do projects on time, on budget, and without all that stress. Google Exovations or visit exovations.com.
If you've been taught that all bread is unhealthy, I'm here to tell you not if it's real bread. Hi, I'm Sue Becker from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. If you're struggling with weight gain, high cholesterol, constipation, even warts, or kids who seem to be constantly sick, come visit us at the Bread Becker store in Woodstock, where we have taught thousands of customers that real bread might be their healthy solution. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've studied the incredible health benefits of real whole grains and bread. I discovered that store-bought bread has had most of the nutrients in the grain removed during milling, and yes, even packages labeled 100% whole wheat. Make a healthy eating change in your life at Bread Beckers in Woodstock. We'll show you how bread, but only real bread, might be the answer to your family's physical ills. The Bread Beckers. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? When it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Switch to Consumer Cellular and get your second month free for a limited time. You'll get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month. Here's Veronica and Jackie, real customers.
I didn't know that I could get something for a lot less money that was actually better than who I was with before.
Anytime anybody complains about their cell phone bill, we say, you've got to check out Consumer Cellular.
And now for a limited time, new customers can get their second month free when they use promo code SECONDFREE. Just call, click, or bring us your bill and see how much you can save. Because when it comes to Big Wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit a store near you, or consumercellular.com and use code SECONDFREE to get a free second month. Real people paid to share their opinions in this ad. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Want to be on the show? Come on, be on the show. Call Eric now at 877-973-7425.
Oh, and almost as if on cue, I've got a soundbite that just got released. Donald Trump is actually entertaining El Salvador President Bukele in the Oval Office. He's got the press there. CNN's Caitlin Collins says, "Hey, I have a question about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Are you gonna return him? Are you? This was the response from the El Salvadorian President Bukele.
Well, I'm supposed to not suggesting that I smuggle a terrorist into the United States, right? I mean, how can I smuggle? How can I return him to the United States? Like, I smuggle him into the United States, or what do I do? Of course, I'm not going to do it. It's like, I mean, the question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist into the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States. Yeah, but I'm not releasing. I mean, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world to the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Well, hey. The Supreme Court said 9-0 that the United States needed to facilitate the return. The president of El Salvador is like, I'm not in the habit of transporting terrorists to the United States. And while we're at it, I'm not in the habit of letting people go that are terrorists in my own country. You want me to go from the murder capital of the world? I've come in and I've reformed our country to make it as safer than it's ever been. You want me to release a criminal? No. That is Great. Hey, Supreme Court said it. The Supreme Court said, hey, as long as the United States doesn't block his return, we have to facilitate. But the president of El Salvador was like, I am not in the habit of transporting terrorists. I'm not going to send terrorists to the United States, and I'm not going to let them loose in my own backyard either. And you hear the press, but couldn't you just let them go? But couldn't you just couldn't? They are more worried. And the problem with the left right now, and this is the problem with their lack of focus, their opposition-only stance means they are more worried about the rights of an illegal MS-13 gang member than they are about the Americans who have been killed by them. That's a sad statement.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
95.5 WSB.
Atlanta's News and Talk.
It is 1:30. Good afternoon. I'm Sabrina Cupid. This news sponsored by Ben Hill Renovation. This just in. A 24-year-old Lilburn man charged with threatening the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. The DOJ says Ali Akbar Muhammad Amin threatened the director, saying, quote, "You and your family are going to die soon, and I will personally do the job if necessary." He's been arrested now, charged with transmitting interstate threats. Your weather for today, sunny and warm with a high of 82. We're just getting word that Southern California has been jolted by a strong earthquake. This is near San Diego. The ex-husband of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, Perry Greene, has agreed to pay a $75,000 settlement for harassing 3 Muslim women who were praying at Avalon and Alpharetta. The women speaking at a news conference in Johns Creek.
Clearly, he saw us as an easy target. 3 young women who were praying out of everyone's way.
Now, Greene privately and publicly apologized and attended services at a local mosque. The women saying they hope this is a learning experience. The White House defending its decision to deport a man from Maryland said to have been mistakenly deported to a prison in El Salvador. Speaking from the Oval Office with the president of El Salvador, Trump again said courts do not dictate America's foreign policy. President Trump said the immigration issue is a top priority for his administration.
We have millions of people that should not be in this country that are dangerous. Not just people, because we have people, but we have millions of people that are murderers, drug dealers. They've been allowed to come into our country.
And Secretary of State Marco Rubio added that the person in question is a citizen of El Salvador and in the U.S. illegally and was simply sent back to his country of origin. Pfizer saying that it is doing away with the idea of developing a daily weight loss pill.
Pfizer says a patient taking the pill, danuglipron, experienced a possible drug-induced liver injury, which is now resolved. The drug company says after regulator input and review of clinical data, it has decided to discontinue development. Pfizer is still testing another daily weight loss pill. Wendy Gillette, CBS News.
It's 1:32.
April showers bring May flowers, but they may also lead to water inside your home. Dave Baker here for Findlay Roofing, the roof guys. Extra rain could mean extra trouble for your roof. If spring has sprung inside your home, there will be signs. Look for wet spots, water streaks, or dripping water on the ceiling, drywall, chimney area, or in the attic. If that wet spot is now a dry stain, it's still a problem. So when it comes to your roof, think of Findlay first. The perfect match for any roofing issue. They've replaced over 65,000 roofs locally with high-quality roofing experience and expertise. Only Findlay offers a lifetime leak-free warranty at no additional cost. And with Findlay, manners matter. They'll treat your home like it's their own with 5-star exceptional service. Plus, Findlay offers upfront pricing, 0% financing, and a free roof analysis. Get started today at FindlayRoofing.com. Roof.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson. You wouldn't trust Mac with a jack to fix your home's sinking foundation problem, would you? I certainly wouldn't. Serious issues need serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, so are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
This is Scott Slade. Let's talk about how to improve your chances of living a longer, healthier life. For me, it's preventive medicine. My doctor saw one funky number in my lab work that eventually led to a diagnosis early enough so I still had options. You just got to have a medical professional looking at you every so often, especially when we're talking about heart disease, the nation's #1 killer. And that's where virtual imaging comes in. They've got the best CT imaging in the Southeast with 98% accuracy and low radiation, like flying in an airplane. They can detect calcium levels in your arteries and most cancers at the earliest stage. And virtual imaging can scan your brain to see if you're in danger of a tumor, stroke, or even dementia. So don't put this off, especially with this offer from virtual imaging. For a limited time, they're offering you and your spouse a free heart scan. Yes, free with a few minimum requirements. I've done it. Call 404-678-SCAN. That's 404-678-SCAN. Or make an appointment by visiting their website at virtualimagingatl.com.
All right, Alex Williams with a look at the roads brought to you by Fenley Roofing.
Few new trouble spots out there. Sabrina got a stalled big rig in the now two right lanes, 285 northbound, the outer loop I-20, exit 46. You're jammed back before Flat Shoals. If you'd like, you can use 20 eastbound as an alternate. In DeKalb County, we got a right lane crash, 20 westbound, approaching Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68, adding to the brake lights out of Lithonia. Stall downtown, second left lane, 75-85 northbound at I-20. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunshine today, warming up to a high of 82.
79 degrees in Atlanta. We'll have more news at 2 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Sabrina Cupid, 95.5 WSB.
Yeah, you are listening to the Eric Erickson Show. Eric's not here. I'm Alan Sanders, having a great time filling in, and hope you are too. If you want to join in on the conversation, you got something you want to add or ask or maybe even disagree with, we can have a civil conversation. I believe in being able to have a civil discourse as opposed to other members of other parties. I actually like communicating with different ideas and trying to find some common ground. 877-97-ERIC, E-R-I-C-K. That's 877-973-7425. I want to shift gears and maybe put a little commentary on what I see happening, certainly with the leadership of the Democrat Party, but with all of those who want to identify with that party right now. The party's in trouble. The approval rate of voters, including Democrats, to get to this level is 21% favorability. That means 79% of people are saying what you're doing is not right or good or beneficial or productive. A 21% favorability rating, and it's been dropping. It was 29, then it was 25, 23, now it's 21. Now, it may fluctuate back up a few points, but I would argue that if you're trying to maintain yourself as one of the two big parties, that's not helpful if you want to get reelected. And I want to come at it from a different perspective. Something that I try to do with my show, and I get a little more latitude here, and I love it. And Eric, by the way, I get this question all the time. Does Eric tell you what you can talk about? No. We're not into that on the whole freedom of speech side of this debate. We like ideas, even if some of them are a little wacky sometimes. We like having the ability to express and take other people's opinions and calls and try to hash some things out and have a good conversation. So no, I am never told what I'm allowed or what I have to say. But what I like is sometimes just deviating from the politics for a moment to see if I can illustrate something. One of my favorite movies growing up, and I'll never forget the impact it had on me watching it for the first time. And I bring it up because it just had its 40th anniversary. And that was the movie The Breakfast Club by John Hughes. I remember when my girls were in high school and they were getting ready to go to college. My oldest, I had kind of stair steps. My oldest, followed by the next, was 18 months apart. Then the next was 18 months younger, and then it was 3 years to the quote baby. So at one point, when my oldest was getting ready to go to college, it meant that I was going to have one more in high school. Well, actually, two more in high school behind. Besides that. But I had a 12th grader, I had an 11th grader, I had a 10th grader, and then I had a rising 9th grader, all living in the house. And we decided before my oldest went to college, we were going to show him this movie because my wife loved it too. We are Gen Xers. We could identify with this movie when we saw it. The Breakfast Club. A bunch of representatives of different cliques in the high school all forced to be on a Saturday all-day detention. If you've never seen the movie, well, I can just tell you what my kids said. As Gen Zers, they started watching the movie and they were like, this looks like one of those ABC made-for-TV movies. Is this going to get any better? I was like, just Just keep watching, okay? You know, there doesn't need to be a car chase in every movie for it to be exciting or gripping or good or compelling. By the end of the movie, every one of my girls was like, these groups still exist today. They may not go by the same names, but every one of these groups, every one of these that we saw in the movie, we have them even today. And I said, do you understand the point of what this movie's all about? Everyone in this group, whatever their clique they belong to, every one of them is struggling to pretend that they're something they're not. Everyone wants to be at the cool kids' table, and everyone's willing to do whatever it takes instead of being honest and true and forthright. They're willing to do whatever they have to do to sit at the cool kids' table. I mean, think about the characters. You start off with Claire, the princess, the rich girl. And how about Andrew, the jock? The guy who's on the all-wrestler, everything, dad's involved, he's the coach's pride and joy, he's going to go to college, he's going to win. Both of those characters suffer from a desire to conform rather than be who they are. If you know the movie, Claire even admits to caring too much about what her friends think. And she says, I act kind of silly and shallow, and I act kind of dismissive because that's how all my friends behave, and I don't want to stand out. I want to blend in. I want to make sure that I keep impressing my friends. And what does Andrew say? Why was Andrew bullying? Why did he get on detention? Because he was trying to show off in front of everybody. Look how tough I am. Look how strong I am. Look in front of my peers and my dad. I'm willing to sacrifice my moral compass to look like I'm fitting in. John Bender, the rebel, the guy who stands out, the one who has a problem with authority. What did he do? What did we learn in the movie? He used his defiance, his rebel, his tough guy, I don't care about the rules, drug addict, whatever category you want to put him in, the outsider, the rebel. It's a facade. He's from an abusive home. He doesn't fit in, and so rather than try to fit in anywhere, he makes his own category and mocks everyone else, while deep down he wishes he belonged to something. Brian, the brain, at some point contemplates cheating just to keep the academic pressures of, I'm supposed to be smart, but I also want to fit in, so I'm going to take a shop class because I need to keep my grades high, only to realize, oh, I just thought shop was for dumb people because they're not in chess club. And he realizes learning how to build something with your hands actually takes a different kind of smarts, and he didn't have it. He just made an assumption. And then Allison, a definite outcast. She's quirky, but adopts this persona, if you will, because she wants to stand. She wants to just be noticed, and she can act goofy and weird and do the craziest things, say the craziest things, just to be seen. They want to be cool at some level. They all have what they think their idea of cool is because they want to fit in at the cool kids' table, whatever they think that table is. And when you look at the movie, their one day in detention strips all of their facades away. All of it. The movie is about revealing how chasing the cool label, all it does is it fuels insecurity and bad decisions. You've got Claire's elitism, Andrew's aggression, Bender's recklessness, Brian's desperation, and Allison's, isolation? I would argue if I said, hey, I'd like you, when you get somewhere down the road, to look back at your life and say, yes, it was a life filled of elitism, aggression, recklessness, desperation, and isolation. Wouldn't that be a good goal? By the end of the movie, spoiler alert if you're hearing this for the first time, by the end of the movie, they actually have honest connections with each other, suggesting that when you embrace authenticity over social, whatever, hierarchy, whatever social order, the pecking order, that actually embracing authenticity will lead to some better choices, maybe even genuine relationships. Maybe you could be more familiar with the truth or actually hearing different perspectives and not prejudging somebody because they're not trying really hard to fit at the cool kids table. See, for me, The Breakfast Club is a film that critiques the superficial allure of what we think of as being at that cool kids table. All it is, when you want so desperately to fit in at the table you think is the cool kids table, it forces you into cycles of conformity, recklessness, self-denial. You become something than who you really are because you want so badly to fit in with what you think is the cool kids table, the cool group. Now, how does this relate to the modern Democrat Party? I want to play for you just a moment here between the cry bully herself, the cry bully Taylor Lorenz, being interviewed by a guy on CNN who just desperately wants to be cool too. Taylor Lorenz, I want you to hear her comment on Luigi Mangione, the guy who assassinated the healthcare CEO, who just walked up behind him and blew him away simply because he just wanted to. He just thought, healthcare is bad, and I can't explain it. You read his manifesto, he's like, I'm not good at this. I just know it's wrong, so he just killed a guy. I want you to hear the laughter of these two in describing how this guy is, quote, revolutionary, famous, handsome, young, smart. They actually say, Taylor Lorenz says he's a morally good man. Listen to this, talking about the assassination of the healthcare CEO by Luigi Mangione. This was on CNN.
And I can tell you, I saw the biggest audience growth that I've ever seen because people were like, oh, some journalist is actually speaking to the anger that we feel.
The women who gather outside court in New York.
So you're going to see women especially that feel like, oh my God, right? Like here's this man who's revolutionary, who's famous, who's handsome, who's young, who's smart. He's a person that seems this morally good man, which is hard to find.
Yeah, I just realized women will literally date an assassin before they swipe right on me. That's where we're at.
Oh, isn't that so funny? Ah, my ratings went up when we talked about him because women found him to be so famous and handsome and revolutionary. And he's like, oh, maybe that's why they would rather date an assassin than swipe right on me. Oh, it's so funny talking about people who decided to take the life of a husband, a father, a CEO, a human being. Oh, it's so funny. They want so desperately to be thought of as part of the cool kids club. And in their minds, in this leftist view, the cool kids club has to be opposed to anything and everything that Donald Trump represents and stands for. And what did we talk about when we look at the Breakfast Club as the analogy or the allegory, if you will? Your desire to chase what you think is being part of the cool party. We think Democrats are cool. They've got AOC. They've got Bernie. Feel the burn. He's an old guy, but he's cool because he's talking. I was told he's supposed to be cool. I was told AOC's cool. I was told if I want to be cool, I need to have these positions. I need to think being trans is cool. I need to think that mutilating children's bodies is cool. I need to think about girls who are, boys who are pretend they're girls, being girl sports is cool. I want to be part of the cool kids club. And what happens? You have to convince yourself to do the things that would make you accepted by what you think is the cool kids table. And what does that do to you? Recklessness, aggression, elitism, desperation. Ultimately, with a 21% favorability rating, isolation. I'm going to suggest for the listeners out there that might be Maybe you were a lifelong Democrat voter. Maybe you've just been you have an allegiance, or maybe because you're young, or maybe because you want to be young again and you think that this is the cool position. Start being honest with yourself about this. Are you cool that you're going to go and destroy someone's personal property because Elon Musk started Tesla? So you're just going to take it out on someone else's car? It's not Elon's car. Chances are you're taking it out on someone who probably believes everything you do politically. But you're aggressive because you're angry. You're angry because you've been told to be mad about this. You're so mad at Elon Musk, you're going to lash out. It's reckless. It's desperate. It's aggressive. And it's a form of elitism. I don't have to have a good reason. I just know I'm right. I just know it because I'm part of the cool kids club. We're going to have to start having some serious discussions in this country about the mental health issues of people who are more worried about trying to figure out how to fit in with people they think are cool versus learning how to be authentic and genuine all themselves.
When the truth seems hazy, Eric will clear the way. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
150 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Travel advisory into DeKalb. This stalled Big Rig now blocking 2 right lanes. 285 northbound, the outer loop I-20, exit 46. You're jammed up back toward Boulder Crest. Think about I-20 east as an alternate. 20 westbound crash pushed off to the right at Wesley Chapel Road, exit 68. Downtown just blocked and reopened all lanes. Got a stall off to the right, connector northbound at I-20. And a right lane crash in Clayton County, 75 northbound at Forest Parkway. Traffic brought to you by Lear Capital. Our financial system is cracking under pressure. Your retirement is at risk. Take control now. Lear Capital is offering a free Sky High Silver Report and Precious Metals IRA guide at BetterNestEgg.com. Don't leave your future to chance. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
Get the WSB Radio app.
This story is breaking right now.
Get notifications from your source for news.
If you have the WSB Radio app, then you saw the breaking news.
Get the WSB Radio app.
Don't miss a thing with the WSB app.
Download it from the App Store today.
Hey, it's Scott Slade with another big update from my friends at MyLend. They've got a new mortgage available to those of you who own a rental home or investment property. This loan allows you to qualify based on the cash flow of the property. And that means you don't need to provide your income or employment like a traditional mortgage. It's special programs and industry knowledge like this that keep me talking about the abilities of my friends at MyLend. Whether you're looking to buy a new home, refinance to lower your payment, or need to see how you can access the equity in your home to pay off other debts, do yourself a favor. Call my friends at MyLend. Countless 5-star reviews and testimonials from homeowners just like you. MyLend's been a top mortgage lender in Atlanta and a friend of mine for decades. Give MyLend a call today. 770-817-2000. That's 770-817-2000. Online, it's mylend.com. Spell it M-I-L-E-N-D. NMLS in Georgia residential mortgage licensee 148769. Located at 8995 West Side Parkway, Alpharetta, Georgia 30009. MyLend is an equal housing lender.
Attention men, are you suffering from ED or PE? Here's an important message from Choice Men's Health.
I'm Dr. Katz and I'm the Chief Medical Director at Choice Men's Health. Are you performing the way you want to in the bedroom? If the answer is no and you've tried Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra and were disappointed, then you need to come see us immediately. If you don't see results on the first visit, then there's no charge. Many of our patients have medical conditions such as diabetes, hypertension, obesity, and prostate problems. I'm happy to say that we have 98% success rate with all our patients. Our customized solutions will allow you to perform within 10 minutes and last an hour and even longer. You can regain your love life and tackle your ED and PE problems. Guys, your partner will never complain again. Our clinic has the most affordable prices, so if you visit other clinics and you're not completely satisfied, then you need to call Choice Men's Health.
Regain your love life regardless of your age or medical history. Choice Men's Health guarantees results on your first visit or you pay nothing. Call now. 404-400-1170. That's 404-400-1170.
WSB Atlanta, WSB BFM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Founded by hardworking Georgians in 1992, Builders provides tailored insurance solutions to safeguard workers and business owners from costly accidents. Explore reliable workers' compensation and general liability products at BLDRS.com. Builders, insurance built strong.
Listen up, because women have long waited for the world to recognize the importance of our health.
Northside Hospital goes beyond "we hear you" to "we're out here with you," because women deserve more than open ears.
They deserve open doors, and 1 ounce of action is worth 1,000 words.
Northside is rolling up our sleeves and getting to work for you.
This is a house call. Heard. Learn more at northside.com/heard.
Coming up from the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra, a Delta Classical concert featuring an all-Italian program of Respighi, Paganini, May 1st and 3rd at Symphony Hall. Details at aso.org.
Your non-stop news source, 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
You may not agree with him, but he tells you the truth. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
Alan Sanders back here with you, filling in for the Eric Erickson, and he is out today, but I am in with you and having a great time. I want to play a companion piece to what I just talked about. 30-year-long Democrat strategist, started with the Clinton campaign, has been a lifelong Democrat, been involved in politics, consultant, lawyer, strategist. He was recently asked, is the party, are they lost? Has the leadership, what's going on? You've been in this for 30 years. This is Douglas Schoen. This was on Harris Faulkner's show, the Faulkner Focus. This is what he said, being objective about his party.
Well, it is still going left. I'd argue hard left. Bernie Sanders, AOC are indeed the leaders of the party. All we heard from them, and you saw it on the screen and you said it, Harris, is anti-Trump, no positive programs, certainly no centrist programs. And I would argue that my party is out of touch with the mainstream, with the ideas that elected Donald Trump. He is moving very quickly and very aggressively, sometimes a little further than perhaps the electorate would want. But my party just bashes and trashes. And with AOC and Bernie Sanders at the helm, I think we are only running on opposition to the Republicans, no ideas, no plans.
You're just running on opposition, no ideas, no plans. No plans. Nothing authentic, nothing real, nothing honest. Just adopt whatever position we need to, moment by moment, that is in opposition. Even if we were for it a year ago, or 3 years ago, or 5 years ago, even if we ran for president on the exact same thing, we now oppose it. We cannot be rational. We cannot be real. We cannot be authentic. We have to put up the persona. We have to put on the veneer. We have to all stay lockstep. Whatever we're told, this is the position of the day, we have to stay with it. Folks who have opened their eyes, folks who aren't worried about sitting at the cool kids table, they see what's happening. 21% favorability rating is not a good favorability rating. Now, I'm not trying to help my friends on the other side of the aisle get reelected. I am not trying. I'm more worried about the mental health of a lot of the people out here in this audience who have been lied to for so long, and they're so desperate to still be part of the cool kids table. My challenge to you, why not be honest with yourself and decide what you really believe? Why let someone tell you what to believe? Why let the mainstream, the legacy mainstream media, feed more nonsense into you to get you to find or buy into a narrative that more often than not turns out to be wrong? How many times do you need to be manipulated and lied to that you're still so desperate to be part of the cool kids table, you just slough it off and say, well, okay, they got that one wrong. Maybe this time it'll be right. And I don't want to make the mistake of opposing the team that I think is cool. Learn to question. Learn to be a little skeptical. Learn to do your own research. And then maybe don't be so quick that if everyone's saying the exact same thing the exact same way at the exact same time, maybe it's not because it's the truth. Maybe it's because they all got the same script.
Spring storms can produce flash flooding with heavy rain flowing around your house and into your crawl space. And rainwater trapped in there will provide the perfect breeding ground for mold. Hey, this is Christina Epwords. Mold not only produces that stale, musty smell, but it can also impact the air quality in your home. But call my friends at American Crawl Space Solutions. They will encapsulate your crawl space, keeping it dry and preventing mold from forming. AmericanCrawlSpaceSolutions.com, your best value for crawl space repair.
American Crawl Space Solutions. Foundations too.
Hope. It's more than a word. It's a breakthrough in the making. At City of Hope, we're pushing the boundaries of science, targeting cancer at the molecular level, with teams of experts working together to personalize a treatment plan right down to your DNA with unprecedented speed, making every second count, with appointments in as little as 24 hours. City of Hope, advancing cancer care at life-saving speed. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
News, weather,
traffic. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock. I'm Veronica Waters. The news this hour brought to you by FGA Roofing. WSB's top local story, the ex-husband of Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene reaches a settlement after harassing 3 Muslim women at the Avalon in Alpharetta.
Perry Greene has already written the $75,000 check to 3 Muslim women he harassed in a now viral video. The settlement comes after Greene privately and publicly apologized and attended services at a local mosque. Nesreen, one of the women seen in the video, says this is not about money, and they hope it's a learning experience.
We truly believe that his apology is sincere, and we hope that he goes forward never repeating something like this again.
All of the money has been donated to their local mosque. In Johns Creek, Jonathan O'Brien, 95.5 WSB.
It is 82 degrees now in Midtown Atlanta, and those are around the temperatures for a high that WSB meteorologist Christina Edwards is expecting today under some sunny skies. But you know what? It's going to be a much cooler day tomorrow. Atlanta's most accurate and dependable forecast is coming up. A 24-year-old Lilburn man is charged with threatening the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. The DOJ says Ali Akbar Mohammed Amin menaced the director, saying, quote, "You and your family are going to die soon, and I will personally do the job if necessary," end quote. He is under arrest, facing charges of transmitting interstate threats. Court documents are revealing more about the man arrested for setting fire to the governor's mansion in Pennsylvania. 38-year-old Cody Balmer had to walk for about an hour to get from his home to Governor Josh Shapiro's home. He says he harbors, quote, a deep hatred for Shapiro and would have beaten him with a hammer if he'd seen him. Balmer also says he knew people were home and that they might get hurt by the Molotov cocktails he made with lawnmower gas. Governor Shapiro is praising the law enforcement response. Shot by somebody, but he wouldn't say whom. Atlanta police general crimes investigators are trying to figure out what led to the overnight shooting of a 48-year-old man in Buckhead. Officers responded to the person shot call at 3511 Roxborough Road, finding the victim alert and breathing, but say he refuses to cooperate with the investigation. He's now in the hospital. The San Diego area is recovering from a 5.2 earthquake, but amid the aftershocks, folks say it felt much larger. The USGS says it struck about 10:08 a.m. local time, northeast in the city of Julian, and no reports yet of any damage or injuries. Cause is under investigation after a fire breaks out in a Lilburn recreational trailer, killing a man and woman. Lieutenant Jeff Golan with Gwinnett Fire tells WSB this was on Bent Willow Drive in Lilburn.
911 caller said they could see fire from across the lake, and they heard a loud explosion. Additional callers, neighbors, also called 911 to say that they saw a trailer on fire.
The victims' identities have not yet been released. It's 2:02, live team coverage of traffic and weather next.
While spring in Georgia can be a more comfortable season, we all know it's a precursor to our sweltering summer. Hi, this is Daniel Jape. Make sure your air conditioning system is ready all summer long with our maintenance checkup today from Jape Services. And if you happen to need to replace an aging system, now's a great time. We have excellent financing options, rebates, and even a federal tax credit. Call us 24/7 to book your appointment or book online at japeservices.com.
Count on us, Jape Services.
Need inspiration? Shop Kroger for mouth-watering meals and appetizing ingredients. Our low prices add up to big savings, plus over $600 in digital coupons each week, and up to $1 off per gallon at the pump. At Kroger, you always get big flavors and big savings. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Right now, Kroger brand bone-in hickory smoked spiral ham is only $1.99 a pound with your card, an additional $25 purchase. Limit 2. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hi, I'm David Nicholas, financial advisor and president of Nicholas Wealth Management. It's hard to imagine, but one day in retirement, your income will stop. You may have been working for 30 or 40 years, but now you'll have to depend on the money you've saved for the next 30 years. How do you know if you've saved enough? What does it mean to spend confidently in retirement? One of the worst things that you can do is get to retirement and not know how much income your investments can produce. At Nicholas Wealth, we created a plan that will show you what your investments can potentially generate in dividends, interest, and growth in retirement. We call this our Spend Confidently plan. When's the best time to turn on Social Security? What are some of the best dividend-paying stocks available? Our CPAs and CFPs will show you what your income number is and how a diversified portfolio of income-producing investments could potentially provide you consistent monthly income. Our Retire Ready Income Report, it's a $1,000 value. We'll provide it completely complimentary if you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement and you give us a call in the next 10 minutes. Number to call is 404-890-5606. That's 404-890-5606, or you can go to nicholaswealth.com.
Nicholas Wealth is an independent financial services firm that uses a variety of different investment strategies. This is prepared for informational purposes only. It does not address specific investment objectives or the financial situation and the needs of any person. This is a paid advertisement.
2:05 live team coverage of traffic and weather begins right now. Alex Williams is checking the commute in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Still got this travel advisory in DeKalb County. Stalled tractor trailer, 2 right lanes, 285 northbound, the outer loop I-20, exit number 46. You're jammed up back to Boulder Crest Road. Make your way north of there. Use 20 east as an alternate. Also a right lane crash in DeKalb, 285 southbound, the inner loop Covington Highway, exit 43. And better news in Clayton County. Crash pushed all to the right. All lanes open. 75 northbound at Forest Parkway. Those delays out tomorrow into Forest Park will start to improve. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
I'm WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today, high 82, lows tonight in the upper 50s to low 60s. A cold front passing by tomorrow morning will keep our afternoon highs in the upper 60s to low 70s. Wind gusts tomorrow afternoon as high as 30 miles per hour.
80 degrees in Dallas, 81 in Duluth, and it's 82 degrees in Midtown Atlanta at 2:06. More news at 2:30. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Today on The Eric Erickson Show, he's the winner of the Georgia Broadcasting Association Best On-Air Personality Award and a director, producer, and actor. Filling in for Eric today, Alan Sanders.
Hello, everyone, and great to have you along for the ride. Great to be here again, filling in for the Eric Erickson Show for Eric as he's taking the day off, and it's great to be with you on this Holy Week leading to the Easter weekend. We'll get to our callers. We've had a couple online, but right now, I'm going to give you the number in case you want to participate as well. It's 877-97-ERIC, E-R-I-C-K. That's 877-973-7425. Before I get to one of our callers, I do want to say I'm going to talk just a moment about Real ID. I don't know, and I talked a little bit on my Saturday show, and so apologies if this seems like a bit of a rehash, but I just want to make sure that we're kind of, and maybe I'm missing something. But I want to let you know how long Real ID has been an actual law, how long states have been slowly implementing it with their state IDs and driver's licenses, and why are people, and unfortunately on the side of the aisle that I like to kind of side with from time to time, the constitutional, smaller government, less intrusion, more freedom, more liberty, why are they losing their minds over something that we've already had implemented since 2005? I can't really wrap my mind around that. But before I get into that, let's go ahead and go to the phone lines. We've got Adam, who's been holding. Adam, welcome to the Eric Erickson Show. What's on your mind?
Good afternoon, and thank you for taking my call. I voted for Trump. I'm a Republican, but the only concern I had about the tariffs, it seems like we had a ship that was mechanically sound and in calm waters and kind of staying afloat, and everything was going smoothly. That's that part of me, and you can understand that, right?
You talking about before the tariffs? You think the boat we were sailing was okay until Donald Trump brought on the tariffs?
Right. Well,
Okay.
when he took office, he said things were going to be good and he was going to fix things.
Mm-hmm.
And
So, well, let me just address that for a second. So the perception that you have, which a lot of people have had, is as long as the price at Walmart's really cheap and Wall Street's doing really well, that's a ship that's sailing smoothly?
yeah,
Okay. Okay. Well, I have a different take on that. When we have a trade deficit where we are literally losing $2 trillion a year in a deficit spend mode because we're not making any money, it may look good for a while for Wall Street, but at some point, everyone's going to crash if we don't fix it. And it may be a great show. The guys playing on the deck of the Titanic sound wonderful as a 5-string quartet. They're still going down with the ship, and I'd rather change course and avoid the iceberg.
I can understand that. And then with Social Security, I got some problems in my eyes. And I worked for a company for 39 years and had to leave the workforce at age 61 in December the 20th.
Mm-hmm.
You can understand me being concerned about them reducing staff. You know what I mean?
Well, I think that gets down to, do you believe more staff means better productivity?
We'll find out, I guess.
Yeah, because I would argue, look at the Elon Musk model with X. It got rid of 75% of the employees, and it's running better than it ever has. There could be some people that actually show up to work, Adam, that just collect a paycheck and don't actually do anything.
That's sad if they're doing that for Social Security.
Hey, welcome to government jobs. Have you seen the speed of the folks at the DMV?
Yeah, it's pretty slow.
Adam, I get the concern, especially if you're getting close to retirement. I'm not that far behind, probably a decade and a half before I even think about it. I'm not even going to do it because I love what I do so much. But I can tell you, my wife and I, we've resigned ourselves that we've already assumed Social Security is going to go belly up. They've been lying about its solvency for so long that at some point it's just going to be out of money no matter what you do.
It's funny you say that because, you know, I have a friend that his wife worked for the state of Connecticut, and she has excellent post-retirement medical, and they're going to start collecting theirs at age 62. They said they don't trust the government. They're conservatives, but they're going to start drawing theirs at age 62. He was a baggage handler for American Airlines, and his wife worked for the state, but they're going to start drawing theirs at age 62.
That's wild because they're willing to take less by taking it early, I guess maybe worrying that it won't be around for very much longer.
That's what he's thinking. He's thinking that once he's in, he's in.
Yep. I got to tell you, it is, I know they don't like this term, but it is basically a Ponzi scheme. They've spent everything out of Social Security. They took all the surpluses of the 90s and bought all this other stuff because they just assumed, well, we've always got people working. As long as someone's in the workforce, we can pay it forward to the people retiring. Well, guess what? There are more people retiring than there are people entering the workforce. That's a problem.
You bet. I'll keep listening to the program. Have
all right,
a great
man.
day.
Thanks for calling and appreciate you being out there. And hey, if you want to be part of that conversation, 877-97-ERIC, E-R-I-C-K, 877-973-7425. I get it. I get why people are concerned. My wife came to me. My wife, okay, this is what I do for a living. So she's like, okay, tell me why what Donald Trump's doing isn't bad. Tell me why it's good. Tell me what he, and this was at the start when he just announced this is the new plan going forward. And I said, I'll tell you this. I don't have a hotline to Donald Trump. As much as I wish I did, I can't tell you what he's thinking, but I can tell you this. Thus far, I think he's earned, at least from my perspective, he's earned a little grace period because the things he's doing, he told us this is what he was going to do. He said, this is what I'm running on. This is the plan. He had it on his website. He gave 1 or 2 speeches in the campaign run-up where he covered these things. And every day I'm watching him implement what he said he was going to do. And I've been very happy about everything thus far. So I don't know what the end game is just yet. But I said, honestly, do we want to continue to be the piggy bank of the world? Because we're losing money. We can't keep losing $2 trillion a year in a deficit without at some point, you want to talk about a great reset? How about where everything crashes and then these global elites decide, well, since we've sucked up all the money because we've been part of Wall Street, not Main Street, we're going to be in charge now. Let's reorder the world. I'm not a fan of that, okay? I kind of like the experiment that started back in 1776. It's been going pretty well for a long time. The last several decades have been a problem because of what the progressives have done since Woodrow Wilson forward. And I feel like every now and then we're heading in the direction of of this eventual decline. We're just managing it slowly. We're just making sure that as many people can get rich as some of the people on Wall Street, a lot of the people that are business owners. But where's the average American? Where's the middle America crowd? Where are they right now? How many of you out there feel like you can go afford a home with 2 people now working? Remember when you used to be able to buy 2 cars, buy a home, put your kids into school, and do some cool things with only 1 income? And then in my lifetime, it became, well, if you really want to keep up, you probably need both of you working, or at least one working full and one working part-time. I mean, we had that discussion when my wife was like, we're spending so much money on daycare and so much money on all this stuff. If I stayed home, would we really be losing any money if I just quit my job to stay home? Like, unfortunately, we can't afford for you to quit, because once they eventually get old enough to go to school, we can afford to lose some money right now, but we need the income. So we've gone from 1 income to dual income to now, how many of you out there have more than 2 incomes coming into your income stream? How many of you work a full-time and a part-time, or have a side gig or a weekend gig? And then how many of you still feel like, oh my gosh, I'm still having a hard time making ends meet? That's middle America right now, folks. If you're listening and you go, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm living fat, dumb, and happy. I go out to eat every night. I buy a car whenever I want. Well, you're kind of outside that bubble. You're not, I would say you're outside of the vast majority of the country. Look, everyone would love to be a multimillionaire. That's just not reality. But when you talk to people, and I've talked to so many people, I've been doing this for a long time. Most people, it's not about how much money. It's about, I just want enough money that I'm not worried. I just need to make enough that if something goes sideways, I'm not going to be stressed about it. I just go, okay, I wasn't expecting the car to break, but we're okay. Because at some point, your life scales with your income anyway. You find ways to start spending the money that you're bringing in. Do you ever notice how much more you spend every year when you make more money? Because you've got more money. We're a consumer society. But most people want to be able to say, hey, if I had to scale back, I know I can still pay my mortgage. I can pay my car note. I can pay my credit cards. I can buy food. I can pay my energy bill. And then I can still maybe take a couple of weeks off in the summer and go do something fun. That part of the American dream has been stomped on for the last couple of decades. I would argue that it really started in the Clinton era, right in the mid-Clinton era, right when they stole all the money out of the surpluses that was being set aside for Social Security, right when they started saying, we've got all this money set aside, we could just beef it up and keep it here, or we could spend it because it's a surplus, right? It means it's extra, so we'll just refill it with more extra later, and the more extra never came. What Donald Trump is doing is trying to reset our entire approach to world economics. And that is a big task. And it's going to freak a lot of people out because, if, like our last caller, Adam, he's getting close to retirement. What do I do? What happens if he breaks everything just as I'm about to retire? You folks who are on that edge, I get why you're freaked out. I understand why it seems like all the Tesla protests were bought and paid for out of the geriatric community, because I swear everybody in those protests that I was seeing was in their 70s. I get it. You've been convinced that Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, needed to steal your Social Security checks. You know what's funny? I've asked for people to call me to tell me, can you tell me when you missed your Social Security? If you're on Social Security right now, if you are already, can you tell me when you missed your automatic deposit? Can anyone tell me when? So far, I haven't found anyone who's called me to say, oh yeah, ever since Doge got involved, I haven't gotten a check. It's all fear. It's all fear, and it's designed to do that. Fear, I say, you guys who have been listening to me for a long time, you know how much I talk about the philosopher Niccolo Machiavelli and how he instructed young princes how to lead, how to be in charge of their countries. And he said, you know, you got 2 ways you can get people to follow the rules, people to follow your orders. They can either love you, and they'll do it because they just love you, or they could fear you. And of the 2, fear is the better option, because love is fickle. You could do one thing wrong and turn love into hate, and then the people who hate you are going to rebel. But if they're fearful of what you'll do to them, if you're afraid, you'll do whatever they say to avoid the fearful outcome. If they say, hey, you just need to be loyal to the king and we won't kill your family. You just need to give us half your money as tithes, as taxes, and we'll make sure you don't starve. You just do as you're told, and nothing bad will happen to you. But you step out of line, you try to think for yourself, you try to do something that we told you not to do, then we're going to come after you. And we'll come after your family, and we'll come after your family's family and all your friends. Kind of the mafia. Machiavelli, the guy who came up with the phrase, the ends justify the means, if you can keep people in a state of fear, you have a much better chance of controlling them. Because most people cower to the fearful outcome. I could die unless I wear a mask. Yes, the mask is unscientifically proven. It will not do anything. I don't care. I was told it would keep me alive. How many of you fell for that? Most human beings will choose self-preservation, and if you are in fear of pain or loss of your income or loss of family, if you are in fear that something harmful is going to happen to you, you are so much easier to control. And don't think they don't know that.
With banks collapsing and gold prices are through the roof right now over the economic instability, well, Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they've been warning people about a secret war on cash. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from this secret war, you need to listen for their free report. They're rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. They can educate you on protecting your assets in their report, The Secret War on Cash. It takes less than 15 minutes to read. It can save on your retirement and finances. To get a free copy, all you do is call or text 800-289-2646. 800-289-2646. The All-Out War on Cash includes digital forms of currency. It's growing and spreading. So get the Secret War on Cash report for free. All you do is mention my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K. You can text my name to 800-289-2646 or call them at 800-289-2646. Tell them I sent you. You get the report completely free. That's 800-289-2646. 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply.
Those who love him, listen to find out what he's going to say next. Those who disagree with him, also listen to see what he's going to say next. It's the Eric Erickson Show.
221 Cool Ray Carrier, WSB 24-hour traffic center. Starting to pick up the cones in the cab where we had this stalled big rig. 285 northbound, the outer loop at I-20, exit 46. It's been in two right lanes, but it's already slow back towards 675. Going to take some time for those delays to shake out. Right lane crash, 285 southbound, the inner loop, Covington Highway, exit 43, keeping you slow through Clarkston. Here in Atlanta, fire dispatch a new crash, 285 northbound, the outer loop, or inner loop near I-20, exit 10 on the west side. We will check on that. Traffic is brought to you by Active Pest Control. Mosquitoes are annoying and can be dangerous. Let Active Pest Control help keep your yard mosquito-free year-round. For your $69 initial mosquito control service, visit ActivePestControl.com today. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
In Atlanta, there is always something happening.
Tanker truck crashed into the median.
The Triple Team Traffic Center has you covered.
No traffic getting through in either direction.
Helping you on your commute.
Avoid the area at all costs. Take Highway 155 or Highway 4223.
Brought to you by the Cool Ray Lifetime Parts and Labor Warranty.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
Cheap exterior paint sounds like a deal, right? Until it chips or flakes and you find yourself repainting your house in a few years.
So that cheap paint isn't so cheap after all. More paint, more labor, more of your hard-earned money.
Or you could save thousands of dollars over time with Rhino Shield and never paint again.
Rhino Shield won't chip, flake, or peel and stands up to anything Mother Nature can throw at it. Rhino Shield can even make your house more energy efficient.
Rhino Shield, stop painting, start protecting. Visit rhinoshieldga.com.
There's a new optimism in the air, and we think investors like you might have the best year ever. Hello, I'm Brant Frost, founder of First Liberty Building and Loan. Last year, we opened up our First Liberty Notes program to Main Street investors just like you, and the response has been just incredible. Everyday folks from all walks of life have enjoyed 8 to 13% interest rates while helping to fuel the growth of small businesses right here at home. If you're a qualified investor and have a minimum of $25,000, you too could be earning 8 to 13% interest rates. We'd love to have you join our First Liberty family today. We believe this is going to be a special year and a great year. We've got the projects. Now we need partners like you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com and see if our First Liberty notes are right for you. Go to FirstLibertyGA.com. That's FirstLibertyGA.com.
First Liberty notes are not obligations of or guaranteed by any financial institution and are not secured by any collateral. They are not FDIC insured or guaranteed by any government agency. You could lose money. Purchasers must verify their SEC accredited investor status. Securities are not being offered in any jurisdiction in which it is unlawful.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder for a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter. Or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights, at home or at work. We'll make your happy place your own. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hey, if you've been thinking about selling your home, now is the time. With a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, now you can sell your home fast and for more than you expect. Hey, Sean Hannity here. One of the most stressful things about selling your home is not being able to control the timing. Now, Mark Spain Real Estate, they allow you to receive an all-cash offer and close in as little as 21 days. Just go to markspain.com to find out what your guaranteed offer will be. That's markspain.com, and you can start packing.
It's the active season here in the ATL. Are you going to be active or inactive because of chronic joint pain? Hey, it's Mark Aaron back from my pals at QC Kinetics. I want you to know something. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Atlanta are on the case and focused to finally get you the relief you need. With QC Kinetics, the science solid. They give you your life back without surgery, without drugs, and without any downtime. Get out and be active this summer. Golfing, swimming, tennis. Heck, pickleball seems to be picking up speed. Get out there and be active. Don't let your chronic joint pain hold you back. Curious if you'd be a candidate for these treatments? No problem. Consultation totally free, and they're happy to take a look and see if they can help you finally get relief. Call now and find out how easy it is to get back to enjoying life without chronic joint pain. Now, the best time to get started. Call QC Kinetics now, 770-285-8026. That's 770-285-8026 for QC Kinetics.
When you need quality professional tree work, choose Heath Tree Service. Hi, I'm Jimmy Heath. My father started Heath Tree Service over 60 years ago, and we're still family owned. Certified arborists and experts with trees. Find us at heathtreeservice.com.
Don't miss your chance to take advantage of the Buy 4, Get 4 free sale and pay nothing until 2027. Sale ends soon, only from Window Nation. Schedule your free estimate now at 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. That's windownation.com.
95.5 WSB, Atlanta's News and Talk.
He may not tell you what you want to hear, but he tells you what you need to hear. It's the Erick Erickson Show.
Welcome back, everybody. Yes, in for a few more segments as we are winding down. Got a whole half hour to go after this little short segment. I do want to go to the phones. By the way, that phone number is 877-97-ERIC, 877-973-7425. Let's go to Bob, who's holding. Bob, welcome to the show.
Well, I'm glad to talk with you. I've always enjoyed the Erick Erickson Show.
Well, good.
I was listening to your comments earlier. I have a very good friend. She was born in the United States. Her parents came to the United States from Cuba with her older sister when Castro took over. I would say when he was living there, they were probably in the higher income bracket, not necessarily wealthy, but high. And when he moved here, it took him 10, 15 years to recover from that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think people understand under socialism, as they have in Venezuela and Cuba, the loss you're going to take regardless of how safe you think your savings, your Social Security, that's all gone. Wipes out.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're hoping they can outlive the chaos, I think they're mistaken.
I would agree with you. I think at some point, like I said, you may have a wonderful 5-string quartet playing music on the deck of the Titanic. The ship is still going to sink.
It'll sink. That's right.
Yeah, 100%.
And I also, I don't think people realize tariffs have been around for a long time. In 1919, 80% of the federal budget was funded by tariffs.
Yeah. In fact, that was pre-IRS. And if you remember, when they decided they needed a little more income, remember the initial idea is the IRS was only for the top 2% of wage earners.
That's right.
Look what happened to that.
And and the idea is that we can bring in cheap labor. And I listened to the statistics. about the unemployment among young people who can't find a job and need the experience base.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like, if they're going to have an immigration policy, I'd like them to base it on qualifications.
Well, there's a novel idea. You mean not just open the border to anybody who wants to come here, including people that are part of gangs and thugs and maybe a criminal background?
Well, my thought here is that the amount of people we let in is dependent upon the GDP, the stock market, the unemployment, real wage growth, measures or metrics like that. So if all of those are showing that the standard of living of the American population is at least stable, if not increasing, then they identify the skills that the country needs.
Yep. It should be that way. It should be, and I'm sorry, I'm coming to the bottom of the hour here, Bob, but it should be that we are looking for merit, qualification, but before any of that, if we don't have openings, then why are we in flooding the country with a bunch of people who aren't citizens? We need jobs for Americans first.
Yes. Now,
all right, Bob, I got to go. I'm
quick.
sorry, I'm up against the break. I got to go. It's bottom of the hour. I can't. I'm not. I am ruled by the clock here. But we do have another segment coming up. We'll be back with more of the Eric Erickson Show.
Live from the Superior Plumbing Studios.
News,
weather,
traffic.
No matter how large or small your digging
Atlanta's
project.
News and Talk.
It's 2:30. I'm Veronica Waters. The news this half hour brought to you by Bread Beckers. WSB's top local story, no lawsuit, but a settlement agreement in the case of last month's harassment of 3 Muslim women praying near a shopping center in Alpharetta. Perry Green, the ex-husband of Marjorie Taylor Green, has paid $75,000 to the 3 college students at whom he yelled profanities in a parking deck at Avalon. Aska Mahmood, executive director of CARE Georgia, says,
And we want to note that Islamophobia and hate of any kind has no home in Alpharetta or in Georgia.
The women donated the money to their local mosque. The Forest Park Police Department offers $5,000 to solve the case of 19-year-old Brandon Thomas, whose family found him dead in an abandoned apartment. It's believed the homicide happened around February 19th at the Forest Villas apartment complex on Georgia Avenue, not far from Forest Parkway. Tipsters are asked to contact Forest Park Police or Crime Stoppers Atlanta. The San Diego area is recovering from a 5.2 earthquake. San Diego Police Lieutenant Daniel Meyer says thankfully his city is okay.
We have not had any reports of injuries or damage across the city.
The tremor struck at about 10:08 a.m. local time. It was northeast of the city in Julian. Authorities say that though there are no reports of damage or injuries, some public rail lines have been temporarily closed for inspections. Live team coverage of traffic and weather next. It's 2:31.
The foods we eat can be downright bad for our health. This is Sue from Bread Beckers with Sue's Healthy Minute. I have a degree in food science, and for more than 30 years, I've been teaching the truth about real bread. Not the stuff you buy at the store. I'm talking real bread made with freshly milled flour. When you buy bread from the store, take a look at the ingredients. Enriched flour means that the nutritious bran and germ has been removed to improve the shelf life. Then a few B vitamins and iron are added back to replace the multitude of nutrients lost. That's not enrichment in my book. And today, that label may even read contains bioengineered food ingredients. Food should never be bioengineered. At Bread Beckers in Woodstock, we can teach you how to make real bread loaded with fiber and nutrients. A delicious, healthy, affordable solution that can improve your health and change your life. Visit breadbeckers.com or our Bread Beckers store in Woodstock.
Hey homeowners, it's Eric Erickson here. Do your windows and doors stick? Are you noticing cracks in the drywall or the brickwork? You might have a big problem. Serious issues need the serious experts at Engineered Solutions of Georgia. Their skills are unmatched, as are their foundation solutions. When these guys repair a problem, it's the last time you'll have to worry about it. Done once, done right. Start today with a free inspection. Go to ESOGrepair.com. That's ESOGrepair.com.
Dial 678 ESOG now.
At Ameris Bank, we're invested in the success of your business. Our local bankers are ready to help you improve your cash flow, optimize your operating accounts, and access financing when you need it. From treasury services and digital banking to loans and lines of credit, we offer tailored solutions to help your business thrive. At Ameris Bank, we're with you. Visit amerisbank.com/withyourbusiness or walk into one of our branches today to get started. Ameris Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender. All loans subject to credit approval.
City of Hope, a place where seemingly impossible blood cancers become treatable, curable. With more than 19,000 bone marrow transplants performed, we're the largest and most successful program in the U.S., making major breakthroughs in treating leukemia, lymphoma, and rare blood cancers, personalizing a treatment plan right down to your DNA. Now the experts striving to make the impossible a reality are closer to home. Learn more at cityofhope.org.
2:34 live team coverage now of traffic and weather. Let's check in this afternoon with Alex Williams. He is live in the WSB 24-hour traffic center.
Hey, Veronica, still watching this crash in DeKalb, 285 southbound, the inner loop Covington Highway, exit 43, right lane knocked out there. That's stacking up the ride as you leave Highway 29, Lawrenceville Highway. Better news in DeKalb, stalled big rig cleared off to the right, all lanes open, 285 northbound, the outer loop I-20, exit number 46. And it looks like new trouble heading into Buckhead. We're going to check the jam cam for this, getting slow, 400 southbound, approaching Lennox Road, exit 2. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
This is WSB meteorologist Christina Upward. Sunny skies today, high 82. A cold front passing by for tomorrow morning. So tomorrow afternoon, breezy and rather cool. Highs in the upper 60s, low 70s. Wednesday, mostly sunny. Morning lows in the 40s. Daytime highs in the low 70s.
Right now, we are looking at 81 degrees in Jonesboro. We're seeing 81 in Johns Creek, and it's 82 in Midtown Atlanta at 2:35. More news at 3 o'clock. Breaking news when it happens. I'm Veronica Waters, 95.5 WSB.
Filling in for Eric today, Alan Sanders.
You know, I have been horribly neglected in letting you guys know that I am a fairly avid user of X. If you want to engage, you want to follow, you want to see what I'm talking about, what I might be isolating as a possible item for show prep. A lot of times people go, you know what? I went through your feed and I realized some of those sound bites you had in your feed, you ended up using in your show. Yeah, I kind of use X as my playground, and I've cultivated over the years a lot of really cool people to not only follow, but a lot of good resources. So while I try to follow as many people who want to follow me, I try to do that the cooperative thing, you know, the whole follow back. I don't manage to get everybody. Sometimes I just get inundated, and I do my best, but I do try to engage. And as long as you're being civil or having a good time, I try to stay involved with all of you folks on social media, specifically on X. Just look for The Alan Sanders Show. It's real easy. You know, like this is called The Eric Erickson Show. Like we're our own brand today. Everybody's their own brand. So just look for The Alan Sanders Show. Alan is spelled A-L-A-N. I also do a daily digital drop, so you can find my show wherever you find the podcast you listen to, including The Eric Erickson Show. So you can just look for me. And would love to have you in the you may not agree with me all the time, but that's okay. I don't agree with my wife all the time, and she certainly doesn't agree with me all the time. She's more often right than I am, but we still love each other, and we can have those disagreements. I know I mentioned Real ID, and then we got sidetracked with some other things. I'm trying to really understand what is this craziness all about. Kristi Noem puts out a thing from Department of Homeland Security. All right, we've had this law that was passed in 2005. We gave every state and every U.S. territory basically 20 years to finally figure out how to get everybody on a real ID. And I hear people, I don't have time to go look for my birth certificate, and if I got married and then my church burned down and then my hospital got blown up and I don't know how to find my birth certificate. And I mean, you name every wackadoo scenario in the world from both the left and the right. It's crazy. Look at your driver's license. If you are driving, well, if you're driving right now, don't look at your license. When you get done driving, pull out your driver's license. Almost every state that has over the last 20 years finally implemented Real ID, your government-issued driver's license, if you've got one, probably has a star in the top right corner. Now, California is different. Of course, California is different. California has a bear with a star because, you know, on their state flag, they have a bear. But there's a symbol in the top of their driver's license. And then it's Maine, Michigan, and Nevada. They all have a star, but instead of a star by itself, they put the outline of their state. So you see the outline of the state. Look at your driver's license. If you've got a gold star or a black star, or you have from Maine, Michigan, or Nevada, if you've got the state outline with a star in it, or if you're in California and you've got a bear with a star, you have a Real ID. Isn't that amazing? You didn't have to do anything. Because at some point down the road, they checked your information that you gave them the first time around. Now, here's the cool thing. I don't know how every other state does it. As I mentioned at the very first hour, I live in Georgia. My wife and I were talking about this because, once again, she has a lot of friends from New York. And she follows them on Facebook, and they say some of the craziest things. You know that show they said kids say the craziest things? So do leftists. They say some of the craziest things. I had one person tell my wife that she goes, you know, you got married once. Then you got divorced, but you kept your ex-husband's name. And then instead of going back to your maiden name, you then got remarried, and you never took the other guy's name until later you took his name. You're going to have a hard time trying to prove that you're a citizen. And she's like, what are you talking about? I just went over and did like I did when I got married the first time. I went to the Social Security office and said, I need to register my name change. Here's my marriage certificate. She had it because, we got married. And then she said, I took my new documents and went over to the DMV and said, I'd like a new license, please. I want the one that says that my last name is different now. And they said, oh, okay, hold on. We've got your picture on file. We'll just update the information. Could you wait a minute? 10 minutes later, she had a brand new license with her new name on it. Little star in the corner. I asked you, actually, before we even started, I said, take your license out, because if you're worried about getting a real ID, if these people in your life who have convinced you that this is an impossibility, take a look at your license. And she pulled it out. She goes, I got a star. I'm like, there you go. You've got your real ID. I don't, and that's, the left is trying to make it sound like it's going to be impossible if you've ever been married. They are purposely doing this to make it so hard you'll never, ever be able to go get your license and prove you're a citizen for voting in the federal election. Like, what are you talking about? Here's a post. Someone actually put this out. Quote, a friend applied for a passport today, so she'll still be able to vote if the SAVE Act passes. She spent $130 for the passport, $50 for a first-time application fee and photo, $85 for certified copies of her long-form birth certificate and marriage license. Explain to me how this is not a poll tax for women. You are out of your mind. This is an absolute... Are there people in this country who are just that stupid? I mean, I'm serious. It's a serious question. I get you could have a college degree. That doesn't mean anything. It just means you were able to pass a few tests. You scammed your way through. Are you that stupid? You think it's going to... I got to remember, this is public airwaves. $130 to go buy a passport, then spend an extra $50 for a first-time photo and fees, plus $85 to try to get certified copies. Where do you live? Who are you going to? Are these like underground black market make you a fake passport photo costs? What are you talking about? You've got a driver's license. More than likely, without you even knowing it, most of you already had the information in the system that proved you were a citizen, because when you got your license the first time, you probably needed those founding documents, like your birth certificate, like your social security number. All these databases talk to each other now. It's unbelievable. I asked my wife, I'm like, how hard was it when you decided after the girls got old enough that you wanted to go ahead and change your name? How hard was it? She said, I just went and I called the Social Security office and said, what's the process to get a new card? I got married, and then I just did what they told me. And then I went over to the DMV with my marriage license and my Social Security card and said, can I just get a new license printed? At least for our state, they just have it on file. You didn't even have to fill out anything besides just, hey, I'd like a new license, please. I don't understand where people want to make mountains out of anthills. So you folks on the left trying to scare everybody that this is a way to keep people from voting. They can't afford to get this. It's impossible. You'll never... Look, just go look at your driver's license, please. They've been implementing this Real ID Act since 2005. You may have not even paid attention to the fact that when you got your most recent copy of your driver's license, that little star all of a sudden showed up. You didn't care. You stuck it in your wallet. You stuck it in your purse. You don't ever look at it unless they ask you, hey, can you show me the proof of age before you buy a drink? And then the folks on the right, which there are some, I guess, and I get it. You're so worried about anything that has to do with tracking you. I got into this discussion with a friend of mine on a different radio program. He's like, I don't want anyone tracking me. That's why I've got a flip phone. I'm like, you're cute. You're cute. Do you use a debit card? Do you pass by surveillance cameras where all these new cameras that have facial recognition software or driver's license plate readers? Do you not use social media? Do you not go on the internet? Do you not search for things? You think you're not being tracked. Oh, bless your heart. That's cute. You got a smartphone. Nah, this guy doesn't. Anybody's got a smartphone. You're already being tracked. You're already being monitored. There's already metrics being gathered about you. Now, a lot of the companies that gather those metrics in an effort to conform to our Fourth Amendment, a right to privacy, they strip out the data that would be linked directly to you. It's still there. They can still find out where you've been. For you folks that remember the big Fani Willis RICO case that was going on with Donald Trump from Georgia, remember the one of the attorneys that was representing one of the clients that was being wrapped up in that big RICO case started doing some investigations and started to find out that this other guy that was brought in to be an expert, they were able to get data, they were able to subpoena cell phone towers, and they were able to ping those cell phone numbers to certain towers that showed that they were having lots of midnight rendezvous. Your cell phone is tracking you. Now, a lot of the big companies do strip your data. I'll be honest, one of the things that I do, I work in my local community. I've been a longtime member of our Downtown Development Authority as a board member. And we use a tool called Placer AI, which is a tool that uses cell phone data that helps us from a marketing perspective understand who's coming into our community, what times, where are they coming from? Do they stop on the way there to get food? Do they leave and then go somewhere else? How do we entice people? We can use that data to track, okay, 30% of the people that came to, let's say, our festival this weekend, they came here from, let's say, Atlanta. So now we know 1/3 of our crowd came from out of our community from Atlanta. How many came from, let's say, Tennessee? How many came from Alabama? Should we be making sure we're marketing this festival that's an annual, or actually it's biannual? Should we market in other places? Well, you don't know, because before you just kind of took a random guess at it. Unless you surveyed people and interrupted them and said, hey, while you're here, do you mind filling out a survey? Now we don't even have to do that. Now we just can track cell phone data. So we can figure out who's stopping where. We can figure out where you're coming from. We can find out how long you stayed. We can find out if you stayed overnight. We can find out how many stops you made. That's all out there, folks. And if that's freaking you out, well, you've been already living under that for a very long time now. Real ID is not a metric to track you. Your cell phone is more of a tracking device than your Real ID. All the Real ID is showing that you at some point provided enough documentation to your state to show that issued ID, it means you're a U.S. citizen. In my state, in the state of Georgia, if you're here on a green card or a student visa or an extended work program, but you're not a citizen, but you need to get a driver's license because you're going to be expected to drive, do you understand? And you just look this up. I don't know how every state is, but my state of Georgia, if you are not a U.S. citizen, but you have a driver's license, it'll say temporary. It'll say on there, this is a temporary for as long as your visa or green card or your work permit, whatever it is that you're here on, it'll say temporary to that expiration date. So anybody from Georgia State Patrol pulls you over and goes, you're welcome to our country. Thank you for being here. And why were you going 75 in a 40? I think we get so worried about big government, and it's rightly so. But this is not one of these issues to look like a knucklehead on, at least in my estimation. Now, if I'm missing something, if there's somebody out there that's got a little more nuance that I'm missing, but I researched this, I looked it up. I used a lot of the AI search tools rather than Google. So I was like, okay, this is what you're saying. Well, what about this? Well, what about that? Well, what about this? And then I went and double checked to make sure that I get the right information. It was really easy to do. Didn't take very long. Because my wife was interested because she saw her friends asking about it and then some of them complaining about how they weren't going to be able to vote again. And I'm like, that's preposterous. That is absolutely a scare tactic. Once again, it's fear porn to control people who are either low IQ or willfully ignorant. You are choosing not to inform yourself. You are choosing to be ignorant. I don't understand why you would choose that. I don't know why you wouldn't want to make yourself smarter, not dumber. But hey, you know what? It's America. You're free to be whatever you want to be.
If you need a new computer, Vision Computers can make a computer for you. They can build you a computer, and they can service the computer for you. So not only do they build you and save you money and get you a machine that lasts, they service it for you. They're world-class service. And they got thousands of 5-star reviews. You can see for yourself if you go to visioncomputers.com. You'll be able to see for yourself how many people love them and trust them. And they do this nationwide. You call them at 404-COMPUTE or you go to visioncomputers.com. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. And Vision can service your computers. They can even service a computer for you if you're not a Vision Computer customer. Now, you'll have to pay for that. It comes free with a Vision Computer, but $179 a year, and if you tell them I sent you, you'll save some money there. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Their service is world-class. You're never on hold. 15 seconds or less, you get the answers. They can even remote in if they need to. Printer support, email support, you name it. 404-COMPUTE or visioncomputers.com. Let Vision be your computer service center.
Honest.
Putting your me to tell you what's going on.
Transparent.
I need you to know this from the bottom of my heart.
Giving you the information without the noise.
My job isn't to tell you what you want to hear, it's to tell you the truth.
It's the Erick Erickson Show.
250 Cool Day Carrier WSB 24-hour traffic center. Heads up for a crash. Car went through the sound barrier wall heading out of Sandy Springs into Buckhead. 400 southbound before Lennox Road exit 2. They got the right lane blocked there, so the brake lights are growing back toward I-285. Better news in DeKalb County. The right lane crash now on the right shoulder. All lanes open. 285 southbound. The Interloop Covington Highway exit 43. Still seeing some brake lights back into the Tucker area. And downtown getting slower heading southbound from the 85-400 merge into Midtown and downtown. Northbound, you're slow from Highway 166 up to Freedom Parkway. Traffic brought to you by Rapid Radios. Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com now for 60% off, and for UPS shipping, add code radio and get an extra 5% off. Alex Williams, 95.5 WSB.
It pays to have the WSB Radio app. Download it today and get ready for the Blitz.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz. 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000.
Well, what a blessing that is. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate that.
The WSB 5K a day bonus blitz.
From 95.5 WSB begins Monday, April 21st.
On 95.5 WSB. Download the WSB Radio app now.
I'm here with Chris Hoffman, the founder of Hoffman Financial Group and host of Money Unleashed. Chris, with all the things we're reading, seeing, and living through these days, from rate cuts, election season, and now a new administration, now seems like a great time to make sure we have that comprehensive plan in place. You know, the one that covers all our financial bases.
There are occasions throughout the year where I feel like it's critical for people to engage their financial lives and get the information that they deserve from a financial advisory team. And this is one of those times, to be quite frank. So we ask that you call us if you have a minimum of $500,000 in your full portfolio. But we're going to do away with that minimum so that those folks can have an equal opportunity to understand what's in their portfolio as well. Now, you have to have some money, right? I can't help you to build your wealth at work, right? But I sure can help, I believe, with your 401k, IRA management. There's probably 2 or 3 things that'll surprise you that you may want to take action on. So the next 10 people that call in, we'll work up either a portfolio x-ray, or if you feel like you need a full retirement plan, go to unleashyourmoney.com, click on portfolio x-ray, or click on full retirement plan. We think you'll be impressed enough, and we want you to become a client. There's no question about it. We believe that we are a very competent fiduciary advisory team, and we want to offer that to our listeners. Let Hoffman Financial Group actually show you how we perform, and I believe we perform at the pinnacle of this industry.
Call the Hoffman Financial Group at 404-737-3858, 404-737-3858, or online at unleashyourmoney.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Hoffman Financial Group Incorporated, Georgia Insurance License number 163546.
WSB Atlanta, WSBB FM, and HD1 Doraville. 95.5 WSB, Atlanta's news and talk.
Serving my country required sacrifice that changed my life forever. I remember the day I came home. Because of my injuries, this house wasn't right for me anymore. I remember the narrow doorways, the small bathrooms, the shelves out of reach when in my wheelchair. Every day was full of obstacles. I felt trapped. I remember a better day, the day my family received a specially adapted custom home from Homes for Our Troops. That day changed everything. Now we have a safe and accessible home to enjoy the freedom I fought for. This place, our home, is exactly what we needed to rebuild our lives.
Homes for Our Troops builds and donates specially adapted custom homes nationwide for severely injured post 9/11 veterans and enables them to rebuild their lives. Join our mission at hfotusa.org.
All the news, weather, and traffic you need. 95.5 WSB.
Yourselves on this edition of the Eric Erickson Show. And I invite you to follow me on social media and to maybe give my show a download if you've got extra bandwidth on your time. Just look for The Alan Sanders Show. We were talking a little bit earlier, especially with one of our callers, worried about, Social Security. And our government has done so much malfeasance for so long, and it's become almost status quo that the malfeasance feels like, well, we can't do something different because this is how we've always done it. It's a Ponzi scheme already. It requires new people to enter the workforce, so the money that's coming out of their paychecks is going to pay for the people who are already on Social Security. That's just how it is now. They spent the surplus. There is no account with your name on it that has any money in it. It's an empty room. It's supposed to be something that's considered a mandate that you're going to get. It's supposed to be one of these programs that just never is going to go away. But the reality is, if there's not money in it and there's not enough people putting into it for the people retiring, they're going to run out. And on top of that, this is the part that's driving me bananas. Like, we know that is a mathematical fact. This is a reality that we are going to have to face as a nation. And then I come over here and I read the latest news story from over the weekend where the guy in charge, the associate commissioner for the Social Security Administration, a guy by the name of Greg Pearre, or maybe it's Parry, Pearre, Doge wanted to come in there because they'd already discovered how many illegals, people who are not paying into the system, how many illegals were not only on Social Security, but their benefits were set to max. I want you people who are freaking out to understand. Elon Musk's team was trying to purge the very system that is running out of money of the people who should not be getting a dime. His whole goal was to go in there and shut off the spigot for illegal aliens. And you know what this guy did? You know what this associate commissioner of the Social Security Administration? He locked himself in the office. He locked the doors. It took a couple of days before security could wrench him out of the building. You have folks who have it in their heads that the leftist agenda is the only agenda, and it doesn't matter, and they are going to be opposed to Trump. And Trump's coming in and saying, we need to turn off the spigot on illegal aliens. And so, of course, if you're in an opposition party mind frame, what are you going to say? No, I'm going to fight that. I'm going to resist. I oppose Donald Trump. Just understand, the very group of people who are trying to put fear into you that someone's going to steal your Social Security are totally fine with your money being stolen and given to illegals. Just understand that's who you're following right now if you are part of this current movement that it's vogue, it's cool, it's the cool kids table to be I oppose Trump on everything. You have to be open to the facts and reality. If we're trying to save these programs, we should all be wanting to get rid of the fraud, the waste, the abuse, and more importantly, the corruption. Folks, have a wonderful rest of your day. Be back tomorrow for another episode of The Eric Erickson Show. Take care.
WSB consumer expert Clark Howard.
So it's been a fact of life that power bills have been going up, and away for any of a number of reasons. But now new technologies are helping you and me as a consumer or a business owner fight back. And one of the greatest things you can do is look at the new battery technologies that allow you automatically to store power at your home or at your business overnight when power rates are extra cheap. And then you use that battery power during the day when power rates are really expensive. It also provides you temporary backup for power when there's a power outage. Instead of having to use a backup generator, you use batteries to do it. Many different types available, and they're getting cheaper every month. I'm Clark Howard.
News, weather,
Traffic. 95.5 WSB. Atlanta's News and Talk.
It's 3 o'clock. I'm Veronica Waters. The news this hour brought to you by Coosa Valley Credit Union. WSB's top local story.